if especially if you like had any firsthand account of what happened. You know what I mean? Not just like I heard from this guy who saw it from that guy who, you know what I mean? Because I'm sure on a ship it depends on what your job is, what you were able to see, and if you were on the deck and you saw something, that'd be one thing. If you were in the engine room, you know, not so much. Although it's still cool you were there. I'm not trying to discount that. I'm just saying.
Send them a link to share the story.
If you want one, tell me. I'll send you one. 1911 says, here in California, I've seen a lot of aliens. Illegal aliens. Yeah, we got them here too, man. It's
here in Texas.
Close encounters of the fourth kind. Iowa driver claims to see UFO. Oh, I want to see videos. I don't want some news story. Come on.
I don't know how recent it was, but I saw a video yesterday of this asteroid, or not asteroid, but meteor or something, or comet that flew so close to our atmosphere that it turned night to day for like a couple seconds. Did y'all see that?
Okay, that's another one that I've seen in real life. I was driving along the road, and just like you're saying, it went from night to like, you know, the middle of the day as bright as the sun gets. And the sun kind of seemed to move across the sky pretty quickly. Like you could see the shadows like moving like weirdly, you know, like not like you would see normally.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked up in time to see the last like second of it fucking like coming down to the ground and hitting. And it hit probably a couple miles away from where it wasn't far, right? And where it hit, it looked like a fucking nuke went off. Like
Damn.
a fucking, like, yeah. I don't know what kind of damage it was. Like it was in the middle of nowhere where it hits. And like, but as far as like there being a crater there or whatever, I tried to drive in that direction. I wasn't doing anything at that moment in time, but there wasn't a road that led directly that way. And after I got over a few hills, I couldn't tell which direction it necessarily was anymore. And I realized trying to find a crater in the middle of the night was probably not going to work out too well. So I gave up and went home. But I really wanted to find it because I wanted to find the meteor because those things are goddamn fucking rare and expensive.
No shit. I would have gone back the next day and tried to find it.
Dude, there's no way to fucking, you know. I mean, it could have been like, here's the spot where I think it hit, and it was, you know, 5 miles from there. I'm not sure.
Right.
Pentagon admits to 400 UFO sightings and 11 encounters, shows video proof at U.S. What's a Cong hearing? CONG? Goddamn ads, fuck you. And your music. Buy a toothbrush. Buy it.
Thousands. We have seen an increasing number of unauthorized and or unidentified aircraft or objects in military-controlled training areas and training ranges and other designated airspace. Reports of sightings are frequent and continuing. We attribute this increase in reporting to a number of factors, including our work to destigmatize reporting, an increase in the number of new systems such as quadcopters and unmanned aerial systems that are in our airspace, identification of what we can classify as clutter, mylar balloons, and other types of air trash, and improvements in the capabilities of our various sensors to detect things in our airspace. Almost 2 years ago, in August of 2020, Deputy Secretary of Defense Norquist directed the establishment of the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force within the Department of the Navy. The UAP Task Force was built on the foundation of the Navy's initial efforts to respond to the reports from our aviators on unidentified objects observed in our training ranges.
See, what he just said alone right there is something that the U.S. government has been trying to hide and cover up and obfuscate and blame on anything except for what's happening since before Roswell, I think. I mean, Roswell was probably the first well-known incident that happened in the United States. I don't think that was the first time that they saw something. I mean, look at World War II, the Foo Fighters, like the things in the sky that they saw during battles that they couldn't explain, that would come in and fly in and swoop in and fucking do stuff and fly off, and they couldn't do anything or like even try to fucking keep up with these things, you know, like they were way faster and more maneuverable. Yeah, I mean, I think they knew back then, and they probably had a program by the time Roswell happened, and probably just wasn't like well understood among all departments of the army and whatever that this is the plan. So when the guy fucking showed up on scene and was like, "Holy fuck, we got an alien aircraft," and went to the news, like hours later, the fucking guy with the real plan came in and said, "You're a fucking retard. Like, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna stand in front of the news and say it was a weather balloon, and by the way, here's a weather balloon so you can show it to them that's all crashed and fucked up and stuff. And you can say that this is what you found." And I don't think that's what they found. I think they actually found something. And that's just an example, you know. I mean, again, that was before our time, before I knew anything, before we were paying attention. But we've heard plenty of stories and interviews and movies and TV shows about it. And the fact that I've seen something and Tupperware has seen something and your wife has seen something and other people out there have seen something. Like, are we all crazy?
No. Under Trump, when he was president, didn't he declassify a lot of supposed UFO sightings through like military personnel flying through the air or just like airliners? Shit people have seen.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember specifically.
I think he did.
More music. Footage of hypersonic metallic UFO. More music. UFO video, blah, blah, blah. U.S. congressional panel to hold first hearing on UFO in 50 years.
Eduardo Espinosa said, "Is Rakita going to make a special appearance? He's usually up at this time."
If someone could get a hold of Rakita and have him come on my show, that would be amazing. Because I don't watch a ton of YouTube these days, but one of the shows that I do watch quite a bit is Rakita.
Mm-hmm.
I like to have, I don't know, an inside track almost on information about what different things happening in the law sphere mean and what it means for us and what we can do about stuff and, you know, like that kind of shit. Because if you go back, I don't know, 2 years ago in the chats, we'd be talking about stuff. And I'd be like, God damn it, I wish we could have a lawyer on so we could fucking explain some of this shit. And that was said several times.
Yep, I
And
remember.
then eventually I found a lawyer that I could watch that would explain shit. So maybe we can't have him on, but maybe I can understand it and explain on it, like, in lieu of having a lawyer. But yeah, it would be cool to have, like, honestly, it would be cool to talk to him in general. Like, we're almost exactly the same age. He's just a cool dude, you know, like it would be cool to talk to him. That's all.
That and him specifically, and the others too, but mainly him. The way he speaks about different things and the way he phrases it, it's not boring. It's actually interesting. I mean, he makes it easier to watch, to learn.
And he's an entertaining guy, and he's pretty fucking funny. He's got a good sense of humor. He's very lewd and crude, and that's exactly what I, you know, like that's the kind of humor that I like. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's right up my alley. Like I was watching before I found him. I found Viva Fry, if you know who that is.
Yeah. I've seen him on Rakita.
And like I found him first, and he's a Canadian lawyer who would talk about American things going on from a Canadian point of view, but also from like the point of view of being a lawyer, so you could break down what like this term and that term and whatever else means and stuff like that. But he's very, what's the word I'm looking? He's very milquetoast. He's very like non-offensive to anybody, and that's really not my style. So when I found Rakita, I'm like, oh, okay, here we go.
Yeah, because I remember you talking about Rakita quite a bit even before the Rittenhouse trial, and I just, at that time, just the sound of it or the thought of it just wasn't appealing. But with the whole Rittenhouse, that's how I mainly found him and started watching him, was because I watched the entire Rittenhouse trial on his channel.
I mean, he's a pretty smart dude. You know what I mean? Like, and he knows a lot of things that are uncommon knowledge amongst people that are actually pretty useful knowledge. So I think listening to someone like that gives you even more perspective on things. Like, and usually it's like things that I like agree with him on, but now I'm like, okay, I have another level of why I agree with you on it now, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, there hasn't been anything that because the thing about Rakita that I also agree with is he's a libertarian, right? And he believes in the foundational documents of our country and the valid thought and geniusness of the founders of our country and the republic system that they put together. And if you want to call yourself a libertarian, you got to fucking kind of look at the founding principles and documents of our country and realize that if you want to have a government that's as libertarian as possible, that's probably it. And maybe we should probably try to go back to that as much as we can and shrink government, give power back to the people, give responsibility back to the people, like get government's dirty, greedy fingers out of everything. I don't know.
100%, yes. Did you see Rolling Trip's comment?
Yeah, it's okay. Okay. He's probably talked to a server before, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I bet he's ordered food.
You got to send him a message on YouTube to see if he'll come join your chat.
I wonder if anyone I know is doing a live chat right now. It's too early in the morning. Yeah, it's way too early. I guess it's like 7 o'clock on the on the East Coast, though. I usually don't stay up all night like this. I'm doing it for you guys, man. It's gonna start hurting here in a bit, though. I'll tell you that. Oh, I gotta make that tea soon. You meet the worst people on a Honda. Okay. Sorry, I was looking at something. Wonder what other UFO videos we can dredge up. Top 10 UFOs caught on camera. I want new ones, though, not from 2 years ago. Watch Navy explain newly released video on UFO to Congress 1 month ago. Here we go.
Thank you. Last question, Mr. Bray. If you would, I'm a Navy pilot. I've encountered a UAP. Walk me through the reporting protocol once I see something that I think needs reported.
The first thing that the aviator would do after landing as a part of their normal debriefing is they would contact their intelligence officer. Their intelligence officer would then walk them through first filing data preservation to ensure that whatever sensor data may be on the aircraft, that we preserve that so that it's available for later analysis. Second, they would actually fill out a form that includes details like where they were operating, altitudes they were operating, speeds, what they observed, whatever sensor data they have reported from that. And then that report is filed. It goes two places. One, it goes through the operational
blah
chain
blah
of command, so that operational
seriously
comparing for altitude, speeds, shapes, which it looked like it was outside of a plane window. And if you wouldn't mind going up to the screen, then
I hate this motherfucker.
Oh yeah, he's a piece of shit. What's
See
his
what
name?
Chairman Schiff, Adam
Yep.
Schiff.
like it was outside of a plane window. And if you wouldn't mind going up to the screen, then tell us what we're seeing. Not that you can necessarily tell us what we're seeing, but explain what we should be looking at in that first image.
Absolutely. Alexi, what I'll ask is if you can stop it at a certain point.
Wow, did you see how fast that thing went by?
I did.
Have you ever thought that you
Outside
saw?
of a,
Have you ever thought that you saw something move that fast, but you're like, no, there's no way.
Yes, many times.
Yeah. Right?
civilian aircraft window? Is that what we're looking at? Okay.
Like if that wasn't a UFO, what the fuck was it moving that fast?
I mean, maybe, possibly, like a piece of trash that somehow got like pushed up to the upper atmosphere that just happened to look a certain shape, and since it was small and close, it flew by really quickly, but it looked like it was big and far away and flew by really quickly. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But they can't even seem to get the fucking frame right. Like, you'd think that they would have that shit fucking down pat if they're doing a fucking goddamn presentation in front of Congress. I know if I was doing a presentation in Congress, I would know the exact timestamp that I'm looking for, but, you know, who am I? I'm just a fucking waiter. Whatever. Yeah, you can't catch it.
No.
They can't.
Right there. Can you point to the screen again what we're supposed to be looking at?
This is the part of the chat Duke needs to be in so he can terrify him again with aliens.
Okay, well, if there's aliens here on this planet and flying aircraft flying around and observing us like we're some sort of primitive species and they're studying their own like primitive past or whatever, don't you think they'd scoop a couple examples up and bring them up into the ship and anal probe them?
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, if they are around, why stay hidden? Why not just, come out and say peekaboo?
Okay, if you could stop that frame.
You got the prime directive, right? Like fucking Star Trek. If we don't have warp technology, there's no reason to like help us out in any way. And the best thing that you can do is stay out of our way and let us develop or destroy ourselves.
Yeah, true.
Maybe. I don't know. Or maybe there's some grand plan to fucking, I don't know, take over the planet or something. 1911 A1 Lover 45 says, if you had to buy a gun in a caliber you don't own, what gun would you get and in what caliber? I'll let you answer first, Corey. If you have an answer.
One that I've been really wanting to buy is 357 mag. And I don't know, I keep going back and forth where I want a 686 or a like GP 100 or I don't know. I've been wanting a 357. I don't have a wheel gun.
Well, what do we have here? This seems to be a 686 plus. And, oh, here, let me make myself big. This is a beautiful gun.
Hell yeah, it
Look at
is.
this thing.
I love those grips.
Oh, and she's loaded, boys. Don't worry, as you can see.
Yep. Damn. I also like that Model 19.
I've got a Model 10.
Yeah, I remember when you bought it.
Which is right here. Yeah, check this bad boy out.
I wanted to pick one up, but I just didn't have the extra funds at the time to get one. Yeah.
She's pretty. That's as clean as I could get the bluing. It's kind of bad on the. It's not terrible on this side, but you can see
I'll take that off your hands for you.
The bluing didn't take as much. Oh, I'm never selling this one, buddy. This is mine. I'm not going to duke out on it. But I like the way this one feels in the hand. It's nice. And the holster for it's pretty cool, too. See, my plan is to cover my bed with guns. That way I can't go to sleep.
There you go.
It's working so far. And for me, if I was going to buy a gun right now, the caliber that I don't currently own, I don't own anything in 40. And I almost bought this gun. Was the Taurus TH9 full size?
Mhm.
Or TH40, sorry. Here's a TH9 and a TH40.
I always want to call it THC.
Here, let me try to pull up a picture without a price, if I can. Not on Academy, apparently. TH40 Gun Critic. Okay, we'll pull it up. Fucking internet. All right, apparently it won't go there.
Yeah, since I want to go to my local gun stores in the new town that I moved to see if I can find anything good to put on layaway. Probably do that later today.
Here we go. No prices here. We're good. I don't know. I just like the way it looks. I like the idea of a polymer frame striker fired gun, because I don't have a polymer frame striker or a hammer fired rather. So you got like the lighter single action trigger with the hammer pulled back, and you can do double action, I believe, with it as well. And they're fairly cheap, so like there's no reason to really not get one beyond the fact that it's a whole new caliber, and you know what I mean. Now I have to buy like $1,000 fucking dollars worth of 40, and on top of the gun and extra magazines and everything. I'm just like, 9's good. We're fine, you know.
Would you get plain black or would you get the FDE?
I get plain black. I like the black one.
I like the brown one. Black's just, I don't know, getting kind of boring.
Or the two-tone, like this guy.
I like the two-tone look.
I don't know. I think it's a slick-looking gun, and especially for the price, you know, like they're pretty fucking cool.
Mm-hmm. I think it also depends on the actual gun itself, because there are some pistols out there that look damn good in black, but then others, to me, don't. They lend themselves better with a different color.
I don't know. I just like the look of it. It's a nice looking gun. Even this one, I don't know. It throws me off a little bit, but I still like it. It's still stylish.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a nice.
I do like the black one better though. Oh, Gun Websites is out there. G-Webs. If you would like, and you're not too tired, and you would care to join, I did send you a link. This is the E-Honda 24-hour chat. We are 9.5 hours into it, so any help would be helpful, because I need help. I don't know why why am I doing this? Why am I doing this to myself? I don't know why I'm doing this. I think I'm doing it because not many people do this. And, you know, if you want to stand out a little bit, you want to set yourself apart as not just another plebe doing shit on the internet, you got to fucking go the extra mile. I sent you an old-ass link? Really? Really? All right, hold on. I'm sending you another one.
Anything in 40 is just a host for 357 SIG, says, I'm just saying G. I can't see how to pronounce that.
Okay, is it VYR? Dude, it's the same link that I sent you before. Are you sure it's a dead room? Hold on. Let me try to click my own link. Okay. There we go.
First time I went in here, it was just nothing. It was a dark room.
Oh, you're
That's
good.
fine, you guys.
Then I gotta shut this
Okay.
off. Cool. And thanks for the link.
How you doing, man?
Yeah, fair to Midland.
Yeah. You just waking up, or where are you at with your day?
Yeah, I fucked up. It's hot here, and I'm all screwed up with time and stuff. So I ended up. I think I fell asleep at like 8 o'clock to try to get up for a 11. I forgot what time. I went to sleep like, oh, I'll just sleep for 2 hours, and then I woke up now like 6 hours later. One of them kind of things. So yeah, I'm basically awake in the morning.
You try to sleep during the day to like save energy or some shit, right?
If I can, if it's super hot. Right now it's raining, so it ain't that hot. But when it's super hot, yeah, I'll just take a siesta during the hottest part of the day where the electric is the most expensive, and then do my editing and shit at night like this. But right now it's kind of hot, so I'm kind of doesn't really matter when I'm up.
Dude, I can't sleep when it's too hot.
I can't
Okay.
either.
I get like sweaty and fucking it's gross.
Yeah, well, it'd be poor in Arizona.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna spend the most amount of money to be cool during the day. You know what I mean? Just sleep during it, and then don't cost nothing to be cool at night.
Dude, I've been in Arizona for a total of like, I don't know. How long does it take you to drive from California to Las Vegas in that little spot of Arizona that you drive across in the corner?
California to Las Vegas, you shouldn't need to go to Arizona at all.
Or what am I thinking? Oh, I'm thinking Nevada. I'm thinking goddamn Nevada. Never mind. I'm sorry. Yeah, I've actually never been to Arizona. It's one of the states I've never visited. Is it pretty out there?
I mean, if you like, you know, Roadrunner cartoon type of scenery or old Western type of scenery, like, you know, epic rock type of things,
Yeah.
it looks good, yeah. And then the
It's
rest of it is just like you. I mean, if you get here, Arizona, where I'm standing, I'm not at the bottom of Arizona. Like, you know, something like Death Valley in California, I guess would be the bottom. That's when it's real desert. Arizona starts at like brush and green. I mean, there's no real desert in Arizona. It's all green. But every time you go up 1,000 feet or something, it's like going north 1,000 miles. So I'm a little taller than Phoenix, I guess. So in Tucson, we're a little higher in the air than Phoenix. So we're like 10 degrees cooler than them. But if we went up the hill, like if I go to the top of the hill, I'm basically in Colorado. Like the trees are all conifers and is that the right word? You know, the pine trees and shit. And there's snow and stuff up there during the winter. So Arizona's in a place where it's, you know, we got hot, but places in Arizona you can just go up and get out of it, which is nice.
I mean,
And
the
it
same thing.
rained from the Gulf of California, so you know we got trees and water and stuff here.
Yeah, it's the same thing with Denver. When it gets too hot in Denver, you just go up the mountains, and every like 1,000 feet you go up, it goes down like 5-10 degrees. You just keep going
exactly.
up until it's like the right temperature, and you stay
it's
there.
Not like everybody goes up the hill, but if you're really just getting sick of it, you just go up the hill. You know, spend a day up on the hill, and then come back down, and you're back in bullshit again. And most everybody lives in air conditioning, so it's not even a thing.
Well, I would take advantage of that mostly when I had a motorcycle, right? Because like riding around in the city with all the people and the heat and shit during the summer sucks. But you go up to the mountains during like a weekday when no one's up there and the weather's cooler and there's no traffic. Like that was the place to be. So that's what I would do all the fucking time. Just drive.
We got it probably a little
right
different than you because you got options. We got one road up the mountain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you got probably a shit ton of options.
Not really. I mean, not on a motorcycle. There's options if you have 4-wheel drive and stuff like that to take different routes to go through the mountains, but there's only so many basic routes you can take up to the mountains on a bike, you know?
Okay. Well, and that's the other thing is out here, you were talking about bike. We have potholes, I guess, technically, but I mean, at a microscopic level compared to what anywhere else has with snow. So driving around on a bike out here is just a whole nother level because you don't have to dodge potholes, I'm assuming.
I mean, that does happen. I mean, if your bike's set up correctly, you hit a pothole, it's not a big deal unless you're in like the apex of a curve or something, you know.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if you're just like going straight over a pothole, usually you can see it and dodge it. It's not a big deal. And if you're going around a corner and you see one, you can usually turn a little harder or not quite as hard and go around it, you know.
Tell Jason to delete that comment. Quit saying shit like that.
Arizona is the best. I'm in the Prescott area.
We don't need any more Californians. 50,000 a week, or is it 50,000 a month, or 50,000 a week, or something? Come over here.
William S. Prescott, Esquire, and I am Ted Theodore Logan. Anybody know what that is? Probably not.
Bill and
How could you
Ted's.
not know what that is?
Okay, fuck yeah, thank you. Okay, fine. Oh man, I was at work the other day. I work with all these fucking fetuses, right? They're just like these fucking kids coming up, and the oldest among them is like 30. You know, they're like 10 years younger than me.
That
So,
would be
like,
really weird. Yeah, they probably don't know nothing.
yeah, so like talking to them about old movies. I forget what even movies I was talking about the other day, but it was just like I'm speaking fucking French to people and no one's understanding me. And it
They
got
don't
very,
even watch movies, I bet. They just constantly watch things that are moments long, right? Like little
well, I
instances
remember.
on TikTok and Instagram and shit.
Okay, and granted, there that wasn't there when I was growing up, so there wasn't the trillion choices of a thing to watch. But there were new things to watch, and there were old things to watch, and I tended to watch a mixture of both old and new. And I watched a bunch of old stuff, not everything, but like most of the classics and the cult classics and the normal things that people watch. Yes, I would watch those, and I know of them, and I've seen them, and I can reference them. Kids these days don't watch anything that is old and classic that people like. They don't even like. They've never heard of Mallrats. They've never heard of what was it the other day? Fuck, it was something really. Princess Bride. They'd never fucking seen Princess Bride.
Well, I'd never seen that movie either. I only seen it once, and it was like 3 years ago or something.
Okay, well you're weird too, G-Webs.
No, I know. I mean, I thought it was a girl movie. I never watched it because I thought it was about princesses and shit.
Right.
So I never
Well,
watched.
and I'm talking to girls at work about Princess Bride, like, you've never seen this, and you're a girl. That's really weird. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I don't know.
Well, that's like when we were moving into here and to the new house. One of the movers, I have this knife that's a commemorative to Wyatt Earp, and he looked at it and asked who it was. I'm like, you don't know who Wyatt Earp is? Do you know who Doc Holliday is? Never heard of either one of them. Like, you fucking fetus.
Wow. Yeah, dude,
Yeah,
it's a
but
different, different world.
If their thing is watching 3-minute YouTube videos and TikToks and Instagram minute things that are like usually a minute long, then why would they sit there and watch a 2-hour movie? That would be like agony for them, I bet. Watching
Probably.
these same people talk about something for 2 hours, like they don't get it. And you were talking about back in the day, I was going to say, do you got a brother and sister or something? Because, or you do, right? So you only had one VHS or VCR or whatever the hell they're called.
Right, so you were stuck watching whatever they wanted, whether you wanted
You're
to or
watching
not.
whatever is on the VCR. So you ended up watching shit that you had no interest in because what the fuck are you going to do? Watch the wall? Like you're going to watch it. So they don't have that anymore. People watch exactly what they want, only when they want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. It really does. Like, for instance, one time we were driving across the country and I had to listen to Queen's Greatest Hits 15 times in a row. And to this day,
exactly.
I hate the song Bicycle because of it.
And people can't go, oh, you don't like shit. Like, you're not allowed to not like shit. Like, fuck you. I'm allowed to not like shit. Like, fucking drive across country with one tape. Fucking not like shit. Like, oh, you don't like shit randomly. No, fuck you. Like, I have a long life. So I'm
Right.
allowed to not like shit for whatever the fuck reason, you know? Like,
Exactly.
just because you love everything, because you touch everything and you never absorb anything. Like, right?
Man. Annual gathering of the Rainbow family members is underway in the Root National Forest, and already incident reports, written warnings, violation notices, and arrests have been made. What is the Rainbow family?
Bunch of hippies, right?
283 enforcement actions. Root County,
It's like
California.
one of these like things that happens once a year or something. Or it's like, what's that thing in the desert that a bunch of people go to? It's like a camp, but then they dance around.
Oh, Burning Man.
Yeah. I think it's like that, except for hippies. I think.
The gathering is expected to draw 10,000 or more people who identify as members of the rainbow family of living light. Rainbow family of members arriving in Root National Forest near Steamboat Springs. Okay, so these are like the mountain fucking hippie people. 10,000 of them.
I think the deal is probably like, oh, you're not allowed to be here. Like, oh no, it's a family outing. Oh, okay, then you're allowed to be here.
Since
Probably
the initial 1,000 arrivals, members of the Rainbow family have continued to roll into Root County. As of Thursday, their numbers have reportedly grown to 6,050. In addition to its growth in attendees, officials with the USDA have announced that 283 enforcement actions have taken place so far during this year's celebration. The enforcement came in a response to issues that include damage to natural resources, narcotics possession, narcotics distribution, interference with federal officers, and having inoperable equipment. Oh, I just mean like a 2-point defective vehicle ticket. That's gay.
Yeah, but the bunch of hippies, they're probably driving around in like Beverly Hillbilly shit.
Oh yeah, certainly
a
not
couple.
like insured fucking tested vehicles that are approved by the state for sure. Yeah,
But on
Colorado
the
is
other hand, they could be pulling a Rambo and like, I don't like the look of your license plate, or like,
right.
ka-ching, now your light's broken too, buddy.
Which, knowing the police in Colorado, I wouldn't fucking doubt that for a second. But I don't know, like that
I've
used
only
to be
been hassled by cops in a couple of places. Colorado's like 3 of the 5 places.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, like Denver, not so much these days because they got bigger fish to fry. You know, they've got big city crime problems to deal with in Denver these days. But the mountains and the outlying areas are still kind of how they used to be, and they like to like get all the little particular laws and things and bust people for whatever they can get them because they know it's money for the city or whatever. Colorado is home to world-renowned natural resources, but we know special care must be taken to preserve them for the benefit and enjoyment of current and future residents and visitors. The Department of Natural Resources Executive Director Dan Gibbs said, I don't know why he's got a girl voice. Dan Gibbs has a girl voice. These large, unsanctioned gatherings risk tremendous impacts on our lands, wildlife, and communities. And it is my hope attendees of the Rainbow Family Gathering respect our great outdoors and take it upon themselves to proactively minimize resource degradation. Well, I don't know. What are they doing? Just like pooping outside and littering everywhere? I thought hippies were
No, I
supposed
can't
to.
even imagine, unless it is like that. Like, I mean, I guess there have been hippies that are jerks, but usually those kind of people leave their shit nicer than when they got there. No,
Remember Woodstock 2000?
no.
Yeah.
Did they leave everything bad?
Oh, it was a fucking nightmare, dude.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
they hyped it up and they charged everyone a fuck ton of money, and they charged everyone like if you wanted a water once you were inside. No, by the way, you can't bring in your own drinks. So if you want to drink while you're inside of the
Yeah,
grounds, you
but
better buy it
Woodstock
from us.
wasn't like a bunch of hippies. Woodstock was like, let's con a bunch of high school
Yeah.
kids to show up and act like you're hippies or something.
And so everyone was getting pissed, and then it was raining, and all this shit happened. And I think it was Limp Bizkit goes on stage, and they start singing all this like angry music, and then everyone starts mashing, and then just destroys the whole fucking thing, dude. I mean, there's more to it than that, and I'm probably getting some shit wrong, but that's basically the
I don't
gist
think anybody cares. I don't think there's anybody who's like, damn, Honda, you got the Woodstock 2000 totally fucked up, man.
Fucking waiter.
Yeah, that was actually Woodstock 99.
Let's see if you remember this quote. You forgot your fortune cookie. It says, you're shit out of luck. I don't know what that one's from. I honestly don't know that one. I probably know it. I'm just not remembering it right now. Agorizer says, good morning, Honda Nam. Yeah, I think this is officially the longest chat I've done. I think the second longest was like 6.5 hours, something like that. So yeah, we're 3 hours beyond that. Like,
Isn't it about time for you to stop and start a new chat so it'll be archived?
wait, what was that? I was reading.
I said, is it about time for you to stop and start a new chat to archive it? So it'll archive?
If we're doing that, we're doing it at 12 hours. We're
Okay.
doing it halfway through, so we still got another 2 hours before that happens. But yeah. Clint Eastwood in Dirty Harry. Oh, is that what that is? Yeah, I've only seen that movie a couple. Like, I've seen it, but only a couple of times. That's not one of my like
Go to.
all-time favorite movies because it's Clint Eastwood and he killed people with a revolver as a police officer in L.A. He did make the 44 Magnum from Smith & Wesson very desirable, expensive firearm for a very long time, and it still kind of is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, how much do those 44s go with a long barrel and everything? Like the Dirty Harry gun? I forget what model it is.
Well, in a lot of those scenes and stuff, he didn't actually use a 44. He used a 41, didn't he?
.41 is the weirdest fucking caliber. 41 Magnum. It's like 357's not enough. 44 is too much. Let's just kind of go in the middle somewhere, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Model 29, that's what it is. Plus, like, you can't ever find, like, try to find 41 Magnum ammunition. Like, you can find it online. Here, let's look right now. I don't know why we're not. We got 24 hours.
I don't know if you have the time, though.
So, ammo, handgun, caliber. They even have 41 Magnum fucking listed. Okay, here we go. 41 Special, 41 Remington Magnum. I think that's it.
Yeah.
41. There's 3 places on the entire internet that sell it. And it's between $1.62 and $2.40 around. So it's just short of like fucking 50 BMG price. Because you can get 50 BMG for what, $3 or $4 a round? Let's find out. I don't know. We got time. We got all the time. Hold on. I guess we got to search. Oh, come on. Oh, I'm not on. That's why. Okay. Handgun. We're going rifle. Caliber. .50 BMG. Where are you? There it is.
How's it going, Travis P11? Morning.
Hey, Travis, I sent you a link too. I need all the help I can get. This is the 24-hour chat. If you got time and you want to join in, that would be cool. Yeah, the cheapest 50 BMG is $2.60 a round. The most expensive 41 Magnum was $2.41 a round. So it's 19 cents a round less. Oh, I guess it's Tracer. Fine, whatever. It's still $2.70 for regular. Oh, those are Tracer too. Are the Tracer rounds just cheaper or something? $150 round can for $418. I mean, those look pretty dirty too, don't they? I'm sure they're fine. Hopefully, you're not slap rounds, right? My girlfriend and I got each other the exact same gift for Christmas. Whoops. Rainbow Family. I gotta fucking check that out. We'll go there next year. We'll do a video. Antifa messed up, or did they? Antifa's Night of Rage hits wrong target.
I don't know if you saw, but Alexandria Shea Guevara Cortez stopped by Neiman Marxist to get her nails done as a.
You need me to resend the link? I think I sent it through Discord. Hold on. Let me send it again. Or I can email you if you'd like. I'll just email you. Compose. Travis P11. Subject link. Copy. Where did it go? Paste. Send. Cool, man. I sent you a email link.
Personal act of reclamation.
Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. And I say happy because joy, too, can be an act of resistance. I want to talk about personal acts of reclamation because sometimes people will say, there's nothing I can do, I can't do, I feel so powerless. And there is no act too small that you can engage in. And even today, I have a personal errand. I need to redo my nails. And I've decided.
Okay, real quick. Why are all the leftist people making these videos where they have this weird text that shows up as they're speaking in the bottom left-hand corner that like draws your attention to it? You guys notice that?
Yeah. Kind of annoying.
It's like such a common thing that it's like everybody's doing it now, and I don't know if it's like a voice recognition program overlay automatic thing that you can do that people are doing because it's easy, or if it's like, well, we have to be sensitive to the hearing or the hearing impaired or whatever, or if it's some psychological tactic that they're now using, or I don't know why they're doing it. It's just weird.
It could be some type of filter as well. You know, they got a shit ton of filters out there for everything.
Right. That's what I'm saying, yeah. Ooh, Colostomy Bag dropped in $5. It said, here's another bang to keep you up. Man, I could use some bang right now.
I bet you could.
That I'm going to use my new manicure as almost like a personal act of reclamation for me and my story.
Her next personal act of reclamation, getting fitted for those brain.
So she's using a manicure as a personal act of reclamation and joy to fight against the patriarchy that's oppressing her. Isn't that funny?
I bet you could.
Shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know why she did this, don't you? It's in case one of her supporters who can't afford food just so happens to see her in that Neiman Marx's nail salon. I don't know about you, but as a personal act of reclamation, I mean, for me, I'm just going to get my butt hairs braided.
Everything is about me.
This is another guy I wouldn't mind having on the chat. I've talked to him a couple times about coming on the chat, and he said he would, and we just never got together on a specific time to do it, and it kind of fell through the cracks, and a million things have happened since then, but it would be nice to have him on. Brian?
Hey guys, study after study shows that if you want strong bones and muscles, healthy hair, skin, teeth, and nails, you need the 5 types of collagen in your diet. I get mine from BioTrust. I've got a link in the description.
Oh, blah, blah, blah.
During the second consecutive night of riots in Portland, man, I would not want to be living in Portland. Anybody out there live in Portland or near Portland, witnessing all this stuff happening? Following the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. By the way, abortion wasn't made illegal. Basically, the Supreme Court turned it over to the states to decide how they're going to run their geographic locations, their statist geographic locations. I don't know what people think this overturning of Roe v. Wade did.
I need to grab a drink. I'll be right back.
It didn't put a blanket of illegality on abortions. That's not what it did. It just gave the power back to the states.
Travis is here. What's up, Travis?
Hey, not much, man. How's it going? How's the 24-hour E-Honda marathon going? Is it good?
Yeah, we're 10 hours in, still going strong.
I started watching last night about 45 minutes in, but I hit the hay early last night. Yeah, man, I'm here now to hang out for a little while, so good stuff.
Cool. Hey, cover me for 1 sec, boys. I just gotta grab like a lemonade or something to drink. My talker's getting a little dry here.
I was kind of wondering how you run tea breaks here. What's up, man? How's it going?
Good.
Cool, man. What are you guys talking about? What's going on? You guys from 50? How did 50 BMG come up in the discussion?
Oh, I think that was because we started talking about 44 mag and then 41 mag, and then Honda was looking up ammo to see if there's anywhere that sells 41 mag, and he found some 50 BMG. Just a weird progression in the search.
Did he go to Ammo Seek at all and look up the ammo? Because that's usually where I go to see who's got what.
No, he didn't use Ammo Seek.
Actually, that's exactly what I used.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, you got 3 places that have 41 Magnum for sale if you don't mind ordering it online. But yeah, it's $162 a round is what it starts at, and then $237 and $240.
Jesus.
Right, and 50 BMG was $260 a round, which is why we were.
Yeah, it makes no sense how. I mean, I don't understand how they not justify, but how the price point gets set for certain kinds of ammo, because it's like 50 BMG is, 5 of those is like a box of 9, right? But it's like half the price of a box of 9. So,
well, 41 is such an odd caliber. You know what I mean? Like,
well, you're buying from a reseller too, so they kind of set the price point.
Do they load 41 with just 40 fucking slug? It's got to be different than the 40 caliber, right?
I honestly, man, I don't know anything about 41 Remington Magnum. I've never really dealt with it before. I mean, we got the time. We can look up the history of it on Wikipedia.
Oh shit, C Goody's here. Speaking of Rakita, who I've been watching religiously, not religiously, but quite a bit these days, C Goody is quite a good fellow. He's one of the mods from Rakita Law's channel, and pretty much every time that I've ever gone on there and said anything, he took the time to look up my channel and find a link to it, because if you're not a mod, you can't post links. So he would go on and be like, "Hey everybody, check out E Honda's channel. He seems like he's unbreaded." Like, oh man, fuck yeah, dude. C Goody, I'm glad that you're here. It's good to see you, man. Thanks for showing up.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we've been going for 10 hours now, man. 10 hours. We got 14 left. We're making it. We're doing it. And I'm drinking lemonade because my talker's dry.
Are you Grubhubbing your meals, or what are you doing, man? Are you doing some DoorDash stuff or what?
Oh, I tried to do that at about 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock, I decided that I wanted to get some food. And I looked real quick and I'm like, whatever, I'll just get some McDonald's and I'll have them fucking deliver it, right? So I order it. It's like, okay, it'll be there at 11:45. I wait till, I don't know, 11:30, and I check it, and it's like, oh, it's actually going to be 12:15. I wait till 12, and I check it. They're like, oh, it's going to be 12:45. I'm like, motherfucker.
Oh my god.
And then after waiting like an hour and 15 minutes, they send me a text saying, hey, your order's been canceled. So I had to fucking give up on my order, and then I went to Taco Bell, and I stood in the Taco Bell fucking drive-through line in the middle of the chat, mind you, in my car, and got some Taco Bell at 1 in the morning.
See, and that's the negative side of having a pot-friendly state they don't mention. It's the munchie lines afterwards that people have to deal with at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, and the obscene food truck prices. I mean, there's definitely a side to it that does not get covered in the media. So the munchie delays you got to deal with, and the rage that happens from it, or the lack of rage. Yeah.
Oh, dude, there was people walking around and fucking yelling at each other in the parking lot. There was a problem getting out because there were so many cars trying to get into the fucking drive-through that once you got done, there was nowhere to go because the cars were blocking the exit. I'm like, oh my god, what do you even do?
Is your In-N-Out burger, are they open 24 hours or not?
I don't know. There's
I thought they were open till 2 in the morning, but I know they were down in the Dallas area. But yeah,
I don't know if there's an In-N-Out near me. Hold on.
You ought to see if see Goody could help you get Rakita Law on your chat.
I would love to have Rakita on. I know that he's a busy guy, and I don't know what he's dealing with right now, but he's definitely dealing with some personal issues that are making things a little difficult for him, and I don't want to impose on him at all. I respect the hell out of the guy, and I would like to talk to him and have an actual conversation with him at some point. But being that how many subs do I have? Like 2,000, and he's got like
Coming up on 3, homie.
3? No, I just passed.
Round up. Weren't you 2,400, 2,500, something like that?
No, I just passed 2 a little bit ago.
And really, I mean, that shouldn't matter, dude. I mean, it really shouldn't matter.
And it doesn't, and it's about the conversation and the ability of the people.
And not hey, how many views it's going to generate for my channel, you know?
Right. And I'm just saying, like, I understand that, if he
But I
didn't,
mean, just trying to reach these people sometimes. They get a million emails. You got to try to get through if you don't have an exclusive line, you know?
Yeah.
Well, and that's his big joke right now is like, stop fucking emailing me. I get 1 billion unsolicited emails a day. I don't want your email. If I don't ask you to email me, don't fucking email me.
And don't be on social media because you're going to gain the attention that you generate, you know? I mean, that's the sad part of it, but it's true, you know?
Yeah, see, Goody says, gotta stay grifting. I'm a half-assed shillboard after all. Well, dude, you do a really good thing for people because you're looking out for people. Like, there's mods out there who just don't do shit. There's mods out there who, I mean, their entire point in life is just to be like that cop who finally got power and wants to ban people and do stupid shit. And you're out there actually like making connections with people and helping people out. You're posting links for Rakita constantly. You're doing all kinds of stuff, dude. I just think it's cool that you're out there helping out like that. It's cool that you're here right now, like in this chat, that you're that involved, man. That's fucking cool. I mean, I know that I talked to you several times in the chat about the 24-hour chat coming up and how I'm going to do this and that, and how I got kicked off of YouTube for a little while and I had to take a little hiatus, and all that stuff, which is, it's cool that you fucking know that. You know what I mean? That's all.
Hey, how many? I did get over. I did move over to Rumble about a month ago. My channel. I think you know about that because I think you might have subscribed to it, but because the channels are hard to find if you're not. What's the deal? If you don't monetize, they don't publish your links, or your links don't get pushed in their algorithm. And I'm not monetized on Rumble, so I think you have to. It's like by invite only, or they have to find your channel. They don't. It doesn't pop up in searches.
It's really easy to get monetized on Rumble.
Yeah, I don't want to right now, but I'm just saying if you're not, you don't get exposure, which makes sense. But I guess you don't even pop up in a search. Like somebody has to have a direct link, I think, to find you, or they have to search directly by your channel name. Like, I don't know, something weird about how they have it set up.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that I don't like about it is like now I'm gonna have to do another line on my tax information.
Yeah. That's another reason why too I didn't want to do with it, because I have to get mine done every year. I had trouble getting mine to file online this year, and for some reason Google had changed the W-2s that they sent us, or 1040 or whatever.
Yeah, and
it wouldn't work on the online program at all. And I've been using the online H&R Block for like 8 or 9 years, and I ended up having to go into the whatever the tax shop office to get it done. And she's like, "Oh yeah." They went from like a 1040 miscellaneous to 1040 something else. And she goes, "Yeah, it's not going to pop up. We have to do it here manually." And that cost me like an extra $200 to get that extra W-2 done because it was considered like a business W-2. And I'm not even an LLC. So I'm planning on that probably happening next year too, because the online thing, it's like, it makes it too easy to do your taxes that it doesn't always take you to where you need to be. I could maybe try TurboTax or something else, but I kept getting my return kept getting rejected by the federal government when I file it. And I'm like, what in the hell's going on? So I just took it in and the gal figured it out for me. And the nice thing is that if the online doesn't work, if you have to go into the office, they give you your money back from the online part that gets taken off your total that you owe them when you check out, because you're using the same social security number, which is what you use online. So I guess a lot of people, I mean, this would pertain to anybody that can't get once you pay for the online, and it's like, okay, go ahead and submit. And you submit, and it's like, okay, your taxes have been filed. And then like 30 minutes later, you get a reject notice from the feds. Well, then you got to go into the office and get it figured out if you don't know what's going on. I mean, sometimes you mess up the numbers when you punch them in. And I thought maybe something happened because, I got divorced last year. So maybe that changed my tax status. Well, it did. I thought maybe that caused an issue, even though I technically changed it with the government online. So they knew I was filing single. And that was another reason why I wanted to go on, was just to figure out what the hell was going on. But it was because of the form that Google changed this year. So
Every time I have to do my taxes, like every fucking time,
yeah,
I end up like screaming at my computer and having to like pause it and walk away several times, and then like call someone and ask some questions, and then be frustrated at them because they don't know either. You know what I mean? Like oh god, every time I
what program are you using? Are you doing TurboTax or H&R Block? What are you doing?
I use TaxSlayer.
Okay, yeah, because mine didn't. All right, let's see. Are you monetized on YouTube? You are.
Yep.
So you get that W-2 from AdSense also, like sent to you in the mail or emailed to you or whatever?
Yep.
Yeah, because this year they went to a 1040 miscellaneous or something like that instead of a 1040.
Right, they changed it this year versus last year was.
Yeah, and that caught. Well, then you brought up a good point before. You and I both get those penalties for underpaying. That stupid fee that you get from them because it says, "Oh, you didn't pay enough this year. You owe us this." So therefore, you get like $100 fine or $120 fine for it happening. Or that happens to me every year because they don't take enough out of my check. But I'm like, well, how am I supposed to know how much to take out? You just assume they're going to take out what they're supposed to because it's set by your employer.
Oh, Travis, you poor plebe. Here's what you need to do. Just make some little Travises, and the government gives you all the money you need.
Man, I got a dog that I just dropped 2 G's on. Is that count as a child?
It should.
That's where I've been for the last week. Little guy had a surgery 4 days ago. So that.
Oh man, what happened?
He had 3 marble-sized stones in his bladder. Like he had been really lethargic on our walks, just kind of like barely trotting along. He seemed like he was kind of wincing. And when I took him in for X-rays, thinking maybe he was having hip or back problems, and now they found 3 stones in his bladder, which corgis develop over time for whatever reason. So we're going to see if he needs a dietary modification after the stones get analyzed. But yeah, they showed me on the X-ray. They looked nasty. They were kind of like, they weren't exactly like circular, like ping pong balls. They're actually kind of jagged. So yeah, he was, I mean, I was surprised he was handling the pain as good as he was, but so they did about a 4 or 5 inch laser incision through the skin and then into the bladder. And then they took the stones out and then they sewed him and stapled him up. So the funny part, he walked out of the vet's office, you know, he's fine. I just got to be careful that the wound doesn't reopen or get wet.
Yeah.
So
poor little guy.
I'm sorry, man. Well, hopefully he's okay now.
Yeah,
we're just watching. I do want to say real quick before we move on, though, C. Goody did say probably would be easier to convince him to get you on his show rather than the other way around. Dude, if you could help me out with that, I would be eternally grateful. I would love to go on fucking Rakita's show, and I would like to think that I could keep up with him on some level. I'm not saying like, you know, whatever. It's fine. I'm funny too, is all. So go fuck yourself. I'm funnier than Ty Beard. Fuck that guy. He's a piece of shit. Fuck Ty Beard. If you watch the show, you know what I'm talking about. Fucking Ty Beard. Fucking goddamn cuck-ass fucking old motherfucker who can't fucking talk. Fucking piece of shit who has bad ideas. I don't like Ty Beard. That is all.
So are these guys on YouTube? Or are they on Odyssey or Rumble or what? Where are these channels you're talking about? Because I don't Rakita. I've never heard of him before.
Rakita Law, he's a lawyer. He covered the whole Rittenhouse trial, and he does other trials as they go. He also does a late night show where he just drinks and talks about whatever is going on, or like, I don't know. Like, you'll have to check his show out. It's fucking.
Yeah, I just went ahead and subscribed to him. So yeah, and he does whiskey reviews too. Okay, all right.
Oh yeah. If you need to know about whiskey, he's the guy to at least teach you something. I don't know if he's like the hands down expert or whatever, but he does know more than me for sure.
Ooh, see, Goody's throwing down on you. Ty Beard is fantastic.
Fuck you, Ty Beard is fucking fantastic. As much as a hard headed boomer as he may be. Well, that's my problem with it. Is he's hard headed and he's a boomer. So 2 strikes. So
he's like trying to convince your grandpa to do something different. Is what you're saying? Which is pointless. It's totally pointless, guys. I mean, if you can't change the elderly. I mean, you just go ahead and move on. You're wasting your time.
I don't think you should try to change the elderly. You should just try to live with them, you know? Because
that's what I'm saying. I'm not change, but try to show them new things. Like, you know, trying to show my grandparents how to. It's kind of funny with my grandparents. Like, anytime something quits working in the house, they have to replace it with the identical thing. Otherwise, they won't. They just give up on life. Like their toaster oven. They got one of those under the counter Black & Deckers that they used to sell back in the day. They still sell them, you know. And when my grandma's went out after like 15 years, like my grandpa was panicking because he doesn't know how to run any other toasters, right? So we had to go on eBay and get them an identical toaster. So in their wonderful, nice new house, they've got like this 1970s like beige and wood trimmed Black & Decker toaster that I paid way too much on eBay for. The only thing that was nice about it is we were able to reuse the mount, and that was it. And then, like, my grandma's Keurig maker went out, so they had to have an identical Keurig maker because they couldn't learn how to use a different one. That was not possible. They didn't know, you know. I told them, I said it's power and it's brew, and that was way too easy, I guess. So, man, sometimes you just got to let the elderly go, dude.
Yeah.
Maybe I just have a controversial opinion of Ty Beard, because everyone seems to love Ty Beard. I don't know. He seems to come in the conversation, and he like, it's like a combination of both Night Strike and Ray Ray, right? Like Night Strike saying weird off the wall shit and Ray Ray interrupting everyone to say it. Like that's what I don't like about Ty Beard.
Not the other way around. It's the other way around, dude.
And then, well, yeah, but then the other part about it is like the boomer factor. So he's like stuck in this like boomer mentality of like, oh, everything's gonna be just fine because it always has been in the past. It's a logical fallacy to think that just because things have continued to go well so far means that they always will. That is a logical fallacy that he falls into often enough that it's made me notice as a viewer and made me not really. I wouldn't say I don't respect his opinion, because that's not true, and I'm being hyperbolic when I'm like fuck Ty Beard and all that shit, you know, like to some extent, because I don't feel that strongly about it. I just think that I don't like his opinion as much, and when he's on the show, I feel like it disrupts the show. And see, Goody also said, "Oh, good."
I would say, is he trying to bring up some kind of an argument of counterpoint, or trying to play devil's advocate, or is it just like, can you give me an example of something that you disagree with him on? Like, what would it be specific?
Oh, and I couldn't honestly, because it's like,
what? Oh,
well, no. I mean, they talk about all kinds of stuff. It's just a matter of the flow of the conversation that's interrupted. You know what I mean?
And I got to go subscribe to this guy now. That's good. That's good. I got to add
you
my.
Probably check out Rakita though, Travis. If you haven't checked out Rakita,
I did. I just subbed to him. Yeah.
How many subs are you up to on YouTube now, Travis?
46,800.
Damn, dude.
Doing okay. 46,200.
Yeah, and Matt, who's muted and not here right now because he's probably asleep. he's like what, like 110?
Yeah.
So I'm always the small guy in the room, man. I'm used to fighting up, man. I'll punch up all the time.
Hey, man, I was for dude. It took me 8 years and 1,300 videos to get here. It's not like this shit happened overnight. So I mean, it's taken a long time, dude. Yeah. Of not buying your subs. I mean, that's the key, you know.
Oh yeah, and I've worked for every one of the 2,000, however many I have. You know what I mean?
You know, I'm looking at our friends like Obnoxious and Sarge and those guys, and just they're growing, but they've been putting out stuff for so long. I wish that channels would, you know, that they could pick up momentum and get bigger, because they make great videos. You know, everybody in our little circle makes great content, and it just seems like everybody's just slow to grow.
Well, that's the problem with YouTube these days, because back in the day, there was a level of discovery that was available to everybody. And as long as you were consistently making decent videos, you'd get a fair amount of people, like new eyeballs on your stuff consistently, that would make you able to grow as long as you were putting your time and effort into it.
Yeah.
And then at some point, they figured out that, hey, there's all these voices of people that we don't like. How do we stifle that? I know, let's identify them and change the algorithm to downvote them and make them so that they're not as visible to people, and so that their discovery goes way down. So basically, at this point, I think that the only way that a channel like mine can grow and get bigger and actually see that kind of growth is by talking to other channels who have different audiences than mine, and having good conversations and having people cross over and that kind of thing. Not so much like the traditional way of being able to grow naturally. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you keep doing consistent shows. I mean, that's definitely going to build an audience that people want to listen every week. It's just like Matt's show or your show or you know, Night Strike or whatever. I mean, you got people that consistently come back, and eventually it gains more momentum over time. So it's going to happen. It's just slower. It is kind of weird though. Some of the suggested videos that just pop up on your feed, it's like suggested for you, and it has like nothing to do with anything I watch at all. And I'm like, okay, is YouTube just trying to like reel me into a new type of content? Because for some reason, I don't know why, I wasn't talking about it, wasn't searching for it, but like Sopranos clips just started showing up in my suggested videos. Like top 10 this, top 10 that, top 10 scenes of this. Sopranos. And I'm like, I've never even seen it before. I've never watched Sopranos or even looked at it. Or, I mean, I missed the series altogether because I was just busy working. I didn't have time to watch it. But yeah, it just shows up as suggested for you. It's like, where is this coming from? Because all I watch are truck videos and gun videos on YouTube, damn near 24/7, which is sad, but and podcasts, you guys, and that's it. You know, that's all.
Dude, the only thing I watch is law videos and motorcycle videos.
There you go. See, yeah, and I'm a huge motorcycle fan myself too. But yeah, I grew up watching AMA and MotoGP as a kid, and F1 racing. That stuff just had my attention.
Dude, MotoGP is my shit, man.
That. Oh yeah.
You ever watch like Isle of Man TT race?
Oh yeah. See, now that was odd because the only time I could watch it as a kid would be like Prime Sports. You had Prime Sports growing up, right? Prime Sports Network. It was back in the 80s or 90s. They used to show a lot of international motor racing, and they'd show highlights from other countries. And I get to see like 30-second clips of Isle of Man, and I didn't even know what it was because that was pre-internet, so I couldn't just look it up and watch it, you know.
Dude,
and I'd watch that. Yeah, they go through that little course. Dude, those guys are nuts.
Every single year they've ever had the race, someone died. Like, that is a man fucking sport. You have to have testicles the size of watermelons to fucking step in.
And they're running vintage vehicles and vintage machines on that. They're not running like modern, you know, like modern bikes that have whatever traction control and, you know, good dynamics and stuff. They're running like vintage, you know, Triumphs at like 140 miles an hour through this like weaving course, jumping over hay bales.
Are you sure about that? Because they have different what do you call it? Brackets.
Different classes, but there's guys that run the vintage stuff too.
Right,
I've seen them run. Yeah. Because they do cars too, don't they?
No, it's only motorcycles.
No, I thought they
at least that one particular race, the Isle of Man TT, is not anything
motorcycle race. Yeah.
There might be car races on the island. I don't know, but
I think they even have. There was a racing game. It was maybe on Sega or maybe Sony back in the day that had you could do the Isle of Man course on it. I thought it was called. Yeah, I think it was on the Sega Saturn had Isle of Man TT or Super TT motorbike or something. Yeah.
Well, the thing about it is they're on a motorcycle going fucking balls to the wall around curbs and corners and stuff that regular cars drive on a normal basis, where there might be like a pothole or a fucking inconsistency in the road that wasn't there in the year before race or whatever that makes you jump. And like what looks like a shrub on the side of the road that's all green and covered with leaves and stuff that looks soft is actually a solid rock wall. And if you hit it, you're not like going softly through the brush. You're splattering against that wall and flung up into the air and dead. Like, and that's just the way it works, dude.
So hey, they do have a game called TT Isle of Man Right on the Edge on Steam.
Okay.
So there you go. Oh, it's been on PS4, Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, and Windows.
Yeah.
Cool, man. There you go.
C Goody says, FYI, you officially have more subs than Beard and Harris Law Firm on YouTube. Take that, Ty Beard.
Well, Ty Beard is it the guy that he only has 10 videos? Is that right? Ty Beard? Is that?
Probably. I don't know what he does. I don't watch him on YouTube.
Well, there's a guy standing there with in a basketball jersey. Is that the right channel?
I don't know. I don't watch him on YouTube. I watch Rakita.
Oh.
Yeah. I was just talking shit about him because C Goody's here and would know what I'm
no, see, there's a different weird because the Ty Beard in the picture is not. I don't know. Not they're like two different people. So
let me look.
I'm seeing him showing up on Rakita Law. So.
Oh, I guess Rakita would have a link to his channel in his description, wouldn't he?
Okay, I'll go over there real quick and look. Yeah.
See, look at this. We're talking about motorsports. What just popped up? Aprilia 2022 season so far.
Ooh,
highlights.
There you go.
Yeah, anyway, I'll watch that later. Don't worry.
Are you going to buy a bike or are you going to wait now just because of, having kids and stuff? You just don't want to take chances or what? Are you interested in getting a motorcycle?
Well, I mean, I had a bike, as you know.
Yeah.
And my sister got cancer and died of cancer, as you know.
Yeah. I remember that.
And while she was fighting for her life, doing everything that she could, taking whatever medicine that she could, doing everything that she could possibly do so that she could spend even another day with her kids, I was riding a motorcycle on joyrides, and I felt shitty about it, dude. I felt guilty about it because, in a way, I'm taking an unnecessary risk about something that, you know, I'm playing fast and loose with my life when I have kids, in a way. And whilst at the same time watching my sister do everything that she could possibly do to fight for her life. And at the same time, it ended up being like 2 months that I took off of work.
Yeah.
To hang out with the family and spend as much time as I could with her while that was going on, and spend time with my niece and nephew and help them out in any way that I could and do all that stuff. And I was running out of money, and so I sold the bike. And I haven't got one since, and I've thought about it, but I haven't really seriously thought about actually doing it. Like earlier in this chat, we were looking at, have you seen these Amazon bikes that you can buy?
Oh yeah, they've got, you know, like some of the Chinese imports. Yeah, the inexpensive ones. TFL. I think you watched TFL before on YouTube. They've got the dirt bike. They've got one of those, and they've been testing it out and stuff. You know, the only thing that kind of scares me on it is maybe parts availability. And see, they also make quads too. You can get 4-wheelers also that are relatively inexpensive. You know, what do we have a dealership here locally that sells them, and you can get one for under $2,000. I mean, that's so cheap for a 4-wheeler, but I'm kind of wondering about, you know, maybe parts durability and parts availability if there's an issue. Well, and also you got to get that thing. You got to get, does it come with a title so you can get it, like a VIN number and title so you can get it?
Yes, it does. Well, that's the thing about buying one of these over a quad is when you buy one of these, you can get plates on it. You can drive it on the road. It's got turn signals. It's got headlights. It's got mirrors. But I don't know, man.
There are some cities here in Nebraska where you can legally drive your 4-wheelers on the road. You just have to be 16 years old and you have to have a flag on it and a headlight. So there are towns in Nebraska where you can legally drive. My grandparents live in a town where you can actually drive 4-wheelers in town if you want to.
Well, not here, dude. If you drive a fucking 4-wheeler around the streets of Denver, they will pull your ass over.
No, I wouldn't. We're talking rural
your shit and take your shit away from you and never let you fucking drive again. Like, that's how Colorado works.
Yeah.
Did y'all see that video? I believe it came out of New York where they were all proud of themselves because they were taking one of those big ass steamrollers and rolling over illegal dirt bikes and motorcycles and TVs.
People have been doing that in New York for years, dude. They have like just droves of people that do it. Yeah.
Well, that was the New York City mayor who was angry about the the gangs who were stealing dirt bikes and quads and like riding around the streets and causing havoc. And his solution, rather than, I don't know, whatever you would do, was to make a public fucking show of running them over with, I think it was a bulldozer. They ran him over with a track bulldozer and fucking smashed all these like perfectly good vehicles that, you know, I'm not saying like
sold at auction and use the money to feed the homeless. But,
exactly. You know. Yeah. There you go.
Right, guys?
I'd buy a ghetto quad for cheap. Why not?
I mean, hell, they could have sold them out of state if they didn't want them in their state anymore. Just sold them.
Oh yeah, they could have done a vehicle auction. Yeah.
Well, I think the problem is though a lot of those vehicles were stolen. So really, what they should have done is tried to find the person to whom the vehicle originally belonged and got it back to them. You know.
Well, yeah, all those have a title. They all go back to an original seller or owner at some point. You know, even if you didn't buy it without a title, even if you bought it without a title, it still has a VIN number on it. It's still going to be registered somewhere.
Yeah. Old man Butt Wrinkles says, I used to see old people riding plated ATVs and plated Polaris.
Polaris UTVs.
Polaris. God damn it, I'm getting tired. UTVs in Phoenix.
And they might be legal on the road. They might, as long as you don't take them on highways, they might be legal.
And I don't know how it works necessarily. I mean, I know you'd have to have turn signals, brake, like tail lights, headlights, mirrors. You have to have all the certain things that you have to have in seatbelts if it's a Polaris. But
yeah, if it's a side by side. But yeah, no, in the town where my grandparents live and other places in Nebraska, it's just an orange flag, and that's it. Because they're very rural communities, so there's a lot of farmers that drive into town on their quads to pick up stuff. You just can't drive down the highway or the interstate, but you can cross the highway to get into town. But you just can't. And that, like I say, you just have to have a functional headlight. They always have a tail light. They don't have turn signals on them. Not most of the ATV, not most of the quads I've seen, like this, your traditional four-wheelers.
Yeah, well, I mean, like you guys have like the farmers with their farm vehicles. Who
Yeah. Oh yeah. You got this stuff all the time on operating. Yeah.
Basically, the farm vehicle doesn't leave the farm barely ever unless they're just running to town for a part real quick or whatever. And even then, like, yeah, the cops aren't going to mess with you because they know that this is your land. The cops aren't even out there. Like, why would they be? There's no crime. No one's doing it.
The sheriffs don't care, and the police. I mean, as long as you're not causing shenanigans with it, they don't care what you do. So,
right.
Do you see a political preppers question? He's got a good one. First of all, he's calling us heathens, even though he doesn't know my faith and background. But
he does say, "I doubt any of you sinners go to church, but I'm curious if y'all had a place you wore a suit to regularly and wanted to carry a nicer looking gun with it. What gun would you carry? Here, let me show you."
Yeah, I pack a P365 because it's pretty easy to conceal with just about any outfit, and it prints. The printing is very minimal, and if you can, wear just a simple overshirt, like a button-up shirt over it, and you've got 10+1, I think is what mine has, and it's run well. I mean, I've got a late production P365 that has no issues.
I would.
There you go. Shoulder holster.
Oh, I've got a 1791 holster for this one.
No, with a suit, you could shoulder holster that, and it would be nice. You'd be set, man. Yeah, keep your suit, keep your coat buttoned up.
Nice little Remington R1, though.
Those are beautiful, beautiful guns, man. I just about considered getting one of those before I got my SR 1911.
You should have got one because now Remington doesn't make them anymore.
I know. Yeah. Well, I think they were. How much did you get that one for? Because they for a while, weren't they down to like 600 with a rebate or something? Isn't that what they were going for? Because then they were.
I think I got this for. I think it was like just over 640.
Okay.
Something like that, if I remember correctly.
I thought the MSRP was like $1,000 on them when they came out because they were like $1,000. They were one of the 1911s I was considering.
Yeah, I missed my 1911. I used to have a 6-hour TAC ops.
Oh yeah,
that was a sweet shooter, but I had to sell it in order to pay a bill.
That happens, man. I know I had to sell one of mine to graduate college. That's terrible to say, but it's true. I had graduation fees I didn't realize were there. It was going to cost me like $200 to graduate. So I ended up selling my Smith & Wesson SW99, which is like it's like the Walther P99, which influenced the campus and stuff like that. I ended up having to sell that to the local Shields, ironically enough. But I got like $400 or $500 for it. I think I paid $7 or $8 for it when it came out. But yeah, when I went to graduate, they said, okay, there's like a $50 fee for this and a $75 fee for that. And transcripts are going to be, $25. And I was like, oh my God. It's like, what the hell was I paying tuition for? So I ended up pocketing the gun and filling up my gas tank and paying off college and basically starting my life after that. So yeah, I was working in college too. It was expensive living on your own.
Dude, check this out. Okay. So when volcanoes go off, sometimes charged particles start rubbing against each other inside of the cloud that create an electrical buildup that makes volcano lightning.
It's like a giant static electricity release, Oh, dude, that's wicked.
That's badass.
Oh.
Like, if you were a primitive person, you would think, like, God just smited the earth and, like, you know what I mean? Like, Jesus.
Or he's coming out of it.
Yeah.
Everything I didn't learn in science class, I learned in Honda's podcast. That's like me in the morning when I jump in the toilet. just fiery hot ash, and lightning, and yeah.
After the morning
that Taco Bell, that Taco Bell comes back to get you.
Proud, even now. Fuck you, New York Times. See, this picture just makes me hungry.
There you go. Go get some elk fajitas.
Mm-hmm.
Fajitas. Dude, the Aurora
picture.
Yeah, Aurora Police Department sees 2 guns and some money and drugs, and they can't stop bragging about it.
Hashtag one less gun.
National Archives website placed harmful language alert on U.S. Constitution. What? What is this? Harmful language alert. See NARA's statement on potentially harmful language. Okay, there's no article here. There's just showing that there's a what the fuck? Or where's the article? There's no article. They're just showing that.
It's like one of those ones you get into and you're looking up. It says the Constitution of the United States, and then there's an ad, and you click on the next slide. Was founded by our fathers, and then there's another ad. You click on the next slide. You know.
Well, here's the article right here, and right here, and I guess right here, and that's the entire. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 11 lines that they wrote for this article, and there's so many fucking advertisements. Look at this. There's more advertisements than words.
Yep, I know. It's even worse on your phone. Yeah.
Oh my lord. The alert now appears on many pages of the archive.org website and links to a page entitled NARA Statement on Potentially Harmful Content, which they define as reflects racist, sexist, ableist, misogynist, what is this word?
Misogynistic? I can't tell.
MISOGYNOIR?
Misogyner? Kind of promoting like the male dominance perspective, I think is what it is. I could be wrong on that, but I'm only in my first cup of coffee, so I can't really tell you.
Misogynistic? Isn't that the same thing as that you just said?
Well, the acting, the person
I'll
acting.
just skip that word. It's fine. And xenophobic opinions and attitudes. Be discriminatory towards or exclude diverse views on sexuality, gender, religion, and more. Include graphic content of historical events such as violent death, medical procedures, crime, wars / terrorist acts, natural disasters, and more. Demonstrate a bias and exclusion in institutional collecting and digestion policies. The fuck? Bizarrely, the warning does not appear on the page about Jim Crow, which has no fewer than 6 uses of the N-word. Does not appear on the page. Does not appear on a page with the word Jewish person with a K. It also appears to have. Wait. It also, however, appears on the page with the U.S. Constitution. Okay, well, that's fucking weird. What does this word mean? I gotta look this up now. We're looking it up and learning on a 24-hour chat. Dislike of, contempt for, or ingrained prejudice against black women. I didn't know what that word meant. Now I know. Dislike of, contempt for, ingrained prejudice against. Misogynoir shows how sexism and racism manifest in black women's lives to create intersecting forms of oppression. Ugh. I'm so sick of all this shit. Why does everyone want to play oppression politics and oppression fucking poker all the time and see who's got the best oppression cards that they can play in the poker game of oppression? Makes me upset. I get tired of it. Tired of it, everybody. Make it stop. How do you make it stop? I don't know.
Well, you could answer Old Man Butt Wrinkle's question because it's a pretty important one this morning.
Yes, when I was on my lunch break, reading Taco Bell. Has it come out yet?
I mean, what is the metabolization time for a gordita? I'm kind of curious what that comes out to.
I mean, so far so good. Although I did have a little I don't think it was the Taco Bell. It was whatever I ate before the Taco Bell that the Taco Bell made room for.
Little prairie dog.
Yeah.
What's the term for waiter haters?
Never enough ammo.
There's got to be a term for it.
Waiter phobe, table phobe.
Irrational hatred of waiter. Waiter anxiety, the stranger. I have always hated waiter baiters. Wait, what the fuck?
Don't think you should click on that one. Might not be appropriate.
14 reasons your waiter person hates you. Let's look at this one. Taking too long to order, staying too long. Yep, that's why we hate you. Acting like any issue is your fault. Again, not always my fault. Being cheap. Yeah, go fuck yourself. If you don't have money to go out, then don't go out. Your cranky kids. Yeah, you should probably be an adult and make sure that your kids are behaving when you're in public. Too many substitutions. Yeah, I mean, you should probably find something on the menu that you like, generally, rather than trying to create your own thing. Ordering stuff not on the menu, again. Acting like you know the owner when you don't. Yeah, that happens a lot. That one pisses me off. When they're like, do you know Greg? He's a manager here. He knows me.
Do you know who I am?
Okay, cool. Should I just bring you free shit from now on? Or like, how do you want this to work, sir? Should I just suck your fucking dick now? Expecting discounts or freebies. Again, there you go. That goes along with knowing the owner. Clueless diners. What do they mean by that? We want you to be happy. Blah, 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 blah.
So people don't know anything about the menu, like they don't.
When you're clueless about what you ordered and decide to take a chance on short ribs and decide they weren't what you expected. Yeah, exactly. Walking in 5 minutes before we close. That is my absolute... Dude, if we're like 5 minutes away from last call for food and you sit down, you are my least favorite person in the world. It's like you have a table in the middle of the day. It really makes no difference as to what time you leave. You have a table towards the end of your shift. It means you're staying a little bit later to take care of them. If you have someone right at the fucking end, dude, that's it's an extra hour or two that you're there.
They just pass it off to another waiter and then they just end up getting the tip. I mean, that's what I've seen happen in restaurants.
What other way, dude, when it's last call for food, Travis?
Oh, at the end of the night. Oh, I didn't realize you meant the end of the night. I just meant the end of the shift. Like, okay. Mm-hmm.
Hitting on us. This one's annoying as fuck because there's always some fucking like middle-aged gay dude or like old fucking haggard woman. You know, it's never like some hot chick because the hot chicks are always there with a date. Splitting the bill. Yeah, dude, figure that shit out or just do it by amounts. Be like, put 50 on my card and 40 on hers because she had less. Perfect. If I split it up, you know what it's going to be? 51.47 and 38.50. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be basically the same. Why make me go through the fucking headache? Just fucking figure it out. Don't be a fucking...
Could you potentially get more tipping, though, if you have two separate people paying? I mean, because I always do my own tip if we split a bill, myself and my buddies. We all tip separate. I mean, and then the waiter benefits from it because, I mean, we tip well because a bunch of us have worked in food service. We know how shitty that can be sometimes. So I tip usually 20%, sometimes 25%, just because I don't go out to eat that often. When I do, I appreciate good service. And I mean, we're all like that, but maybe that's just my generation, you know?
Again, it's situational, right? And it's also dependent upon, like Yankee was talking about it earlier. Like the people who don't know how to fucking act when they're out also don't know how to tip. And the same people who don't know how to act when they're out and don't know how to tip are the same ones who want their fucking check split 70 different ways and then are upset that it's not happening quick enough and then tip like shit.
Yeah, that's true.
So
pretty sad, actually.
Yeah, and it's situational. Like sometimes, like I've got like 2 tables and one of them wants their check split 3 ways, in which case, no problem at all. I've got all the fucking time I need. It's an easy split. There's only 3 tabs. Boom, boom, boom. Here you go. Run 3 cards. Do. We're done. You know, not a big deal. When it's a 40 top, of softball players with their families, and they're trying to go by jersey number, and people keep ordering beers and switching the beers and doing this and doing that, and at the end they're like, well, this beer is not on my ticket, and they look at you like you just stepped on a fucking child. Yeah, dude,
that's
that
ridiculous.
gets fucking old, and that makes me want to fucking take a fucking bottle of ketchup and shove it in their eyeball. Like, honestly, dude. Like, you guys have... I don't want to say you have no idea, because I don't know.
Dude, I do. I did restaurant work. I worked in a restaurant for 2 years, man. So I know exactly. I mean, it was kind of sort of full service. It was a Bonanza. You probably remember those. They're kind of like Sizzler. So you did take people their food. They paid ahead of time, but then, you know, it was like a buffet style, but you still collected their dishes when they were done. You still checked up on them for coffee and see if they needed anything else. And I did dishwashing for a year, and then I was just a table server for another year, and then I switched over to a grocery store. So, I mean, I get it, dude. I did everything. I was on the fry line. I was on the grill. I was washing dishes. I was taking orders.
Working at where I work. Okay, so
busy.
Travis.
Yeah.
I have more experience in this field than I would ever wish upon anybody, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And I've worked in breakfast food places. I've worked at barbecue spots. I've worked at fine dining steakhouses with wine. I've worked at this place, which is a venue that's huge, where you're on an island by yourself, right? Because the managers are a quarter mile away on a radio call and like 15 minutes from getting to you if you call them right now. So if you need help, too fucking bad.
Oh, yeah, you're on your own, man.
And, dude, I can't even describe. Like, it's making me upset. I don't even want to talk about it. You're making me upset.
No, I got you, man. I got you. No, it's traumatic, dude. It's
but that's the point.
Because
is you don't got me. Like, you think you do, but you guys don't. You have some idea. But it's like the difference between playing like Pee Wee League football and the NFL. Like that's the difference between working at like a breakfast food place that I worked at, or a fine dining food place that I worked at, or a fucking like barbecue place or Chili's that I worked at, compared to this job. Dude, no, it's night and day difference. The stress level is 10 times higher. The fucking workload is 4 times as hard. You know, it's longer hours, more constant work, more ground to cover, heavier things to pick up and carry, like bigger assholes, more of them. And since the pandemic, since the shutdown, it's gotten twice as bad as it was before. You know, because like
lack of staffing or what?
As time goes on, they want to put more and more work on less and less people. So what that equates to is no break, no time to sit down, no time to do anything, always behind, everyone always mad at you, always 15 things that you need to do before you can move on to the next thing, but the next thing's already happening, right? For 10 hours straight, every night that I'm at work, that's what it's like. It's terrible, dude.
Just listening to it. Shit.
Sounds very unpleasant.
And to boot, the fucking AC doesn't work correctly in the building. So the humidity's too high, and it should be like, I don't know, like 75-ish, and it's like 79, 80, which doesn't sound that bad, but when you have high humidity and you're running around as fast as you can and it's 80 degrees inside the building, fuck you, dude.
That's insane.
Welding is way harder than... Dude, welding, while it would be probably more physically demanding, like you have to like strongly carry things and do stuff like that, as far as your mental workload, okay, you can keep believing that if you want to, bro.
Yeah, I used to be a certified welder, and what you're describing, yeah, I didn't have to deal with really any of that shit.
Yeah.
Unless you're working like on a high volume production line or something, I could understand that. But
you're on a production line. You're doing 2 tasks over and over again. And I'm not saying that's fun, and I'm not saying that's easy, and I'm not saying that's comfortable. But what I am saying is that it's fairly simple and it doesn't change. That's the thing about waiting, is every night that I walk into work, I have literally no fucking idea how it's going to go. And any number of things goes wrong all the time, constantly, and you just have to roll with the punches, you know? That's the other thing. It's like there's never a typical shift. There's never very rarely a shift that goes completely smoothly from beginning to end. Like, it's happened, but it's not the norm. Yeah, and like Tacos and French Fries says, I would be out of there if the AC doesn't work right. I have gotten this fucking close to quitting several times, and the reason I haven't is because I have kids and I don't have like immediately another way to keep paying the bills, you know? So it goes back to what we were talking about earlier with modern day American slavery, you know? Like, how do they do it? Well, they back you into a corner where you've got things that you need to have done. You have responsibilities and overwhelming fucking life fucking crippling things that happen to you that maybe it was your choice, maybe it wasn't, whatever, you're dealing with it now, and the only way to deal with it is just to fucking go to work at whatever your job is and keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. Yosh says, are you looking for another job? I should be. I find myself preoccupied most of my free time doing other things, but I don't know, man. And the other thing is, as much as my job sucks, I couldn't make as much money as I do in 3 days a week doing anything else. So if I were to get another job that paid even similarly, not even as much, it would be 40 hours a week, Monday through Friday, office job kind of thing, or it would be like hard-ass construction welding job, or it would be whatever it is, you know?
Well, that's understandable. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
It's fine, dude. I mean, I don't know. I'm not trying to tell anybody else what to do with their lives or how to live their lives or what they should do. And I'm not saying that I'm right about how I'm living my life. I'm just saying, like, holy fuck, there's some crazy fucked up shit that I've had to deal with, and it's probably given me some mental issues and other things, and I don't know what to do about that. Old man butt wrinkles says, also they don't want to submit to any tests so doctors can't see what's actually wrong with them. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you got to look at his previous message.
Oh.
He said, try working at a hospital. Every morning, town comes in dictating what they want, what meds they want, and they want it right now, and they don't want to fight. And they want to fight when they don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, medical's got to be tough too, you know.
Oh yeah, it is.
But at least when you're the doctor and you're the nurse or you're the security guy at the fucking hospital, you have the authority to tell people to fuck off, you know? Well, not in those words necessarily, but you can tell someone to leave. You can tell someone you're not going to help them. You can tell someone whatever prescription you're giving them is going to do when they can't do anything about it, and they can get as mad as they want. But that doesn't affect your money at the end of the day, does it? If I'm not nice to the person who's mean to me from beginning to end, that's another difference. Someone pisses you off when you're welding, you call them a cocksucker, you call them a piece of shit, you call them all the names you can think of, still get your paycheck. Someone pisses me off at my work, I just gotta fucking eat that shit, bro.
Yeah, see, that's the difficult part. You can't lay into them. You can't really do anything without jeopardizing your job. Sometimes I know you probably just want to go off on some of the retards that walk in there.
Well, and the thing is, like, okay, the customer's mean to you. You can't be mean back. You go to the back because there's a problem. The cook's mean to you, but you can't be mean back to the cook because then he's not going to fucking cook your food anymore. Right? He's going to fuck your shit up on purpose and laugh about it because he doesn't care. Like, okay, so I got to be nice to the cook who's mean to me. Okay, so there's a problem with this table. I got to go to the manager and talk to them about it. Oh, the manager was mean to me. Well, I can't be mean to the manager, because then they might fire me and then I won't have a job. Okay, well, fine. The manager, the cook, the customer, everyone, fuck, I'll just take it out on this busser. Well, then they're not going to bust my tables, are they? Now I got to work extra hard for the rest of the night because I took it out on the busser. Well, shit, I can't take it out on the well, fuck it. I'll go to the dishwasher. The dishwasher's the bottom of the... Oh, now I can't get silverware to fucking roll at the end of the night, and my cups are already gone because every time he sees me, he hides the shit. Yeah, so...
Dude, I still think the dishwasher should be one of the highest paid positions in the restaurant, just because it's that me doing it for a year, it's constant, it's nonstop, you know.
Well, you're living in a fucking
so
swamp,
you would just get inundated, dude. And then you're one of the most important positions in the restaurant, and you just get covered in grease and muck and crap, and you get skin gets all pruny and crap, and you're just soaked when you leave work, you know.
Yeah, you live in a swamp for the entire time.
Yeah, it's and then the drains back up and stuff, and people come in and drop off. And then we talked about this before. The ladies that always burn the cauliflower cheese soup and you can't get it out of the bottom of the pan, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, God, restaurant work, dude. I'll tell you what, it's an animal. I mean, it rivals my experience doing my 5 summers in the beef packing plant. That right there was crazy stuff.
That's a job I've never done before. And that would be difficult.
Yeah, pay is good. Basically, it depends on what position you get. It can be pretty demanding.
I would think that would be difficult in some ways, though, because like of the amount of death you're dealing with. At some level, it would probably affect you. I would think. You know, you're just dealing with like animal after animal. You're just feeding fat Americans more fucking fat. Here's some more fat, you fat fuck.
You're just thinking about your paycheck, and you're just thinking about getting those steaks in the box because you got to keep moving, and it's cold, and a lot of the times the ergonomics aren't designed for it to make fun of anybody, but the machines are physically lower to the ground because your working populace isn't necessarily 6 foot tall. So a lot of everything is lower. So it just destroys your back. I mean, the work, you get used to it depending on what you're doing. I worked every summer I was there. They put college kids in like non-cutting positions. So you would do boxing, packaging, vacuum sealing, but it's just like nonstop, just 8 hours straight. You get your 2 15-minute breaks, and that's basically it. But and then after a couple months, you kind of start to get used to it, but physically your body's just like beat, you know. It depends on what you got to box. And sometimes you have to pull stuff off a line, like big beef rounds, you know, all day long. Use a couple hooks to pull them off a line onto a belt and stuff. And like I said, the pay is good. It paid for my college. I mean, I'm not going to complain it, you know. But I think every kid should do a couple months in a beef packing plant. And then after that, you're going to want to go do something else, you know. You're going to want to get out of there and go to school or go get a different job. So
there's a lot of jobs like that. Like when I worked,
dude, work your job. They should go work your job for a couple weeks and then see what it's like, you know? Yeah.
When I worked construction, I would say that working 6 days a week for 12 hours a day, as I did when I was in construction, was harder than my job now because of the number of hours and the fact that it was like physical outside labor. It made it overall a harder job than my current job is, right? Hour for hour, my current job is way harder. Way fucking harder. But I only do 30 hours a week. So
well, you got to work the register and the payments and the receipts and try to keep that stuff straight. That part of it, the mental aspect of it, I think would not be fun. And then try to keep up on everybody's individual needs at every table. You know, you got to keep the water coming and the tea and the pop and make sure that everything's cooked properly. And, you know,
yeah, there's a point where things just fall through the cracks and there ain't shit you can do about it, you know?
Yeah. The only thing that really bugs me is it seems like, and maybe you can answer this one. I thought, you know, when it comes to ordering your burgers, right? So many times I purposely order one grade up because the burgers are usually cooked less than what I wanted. Like if I get a medium well, it shouldn't be pink all the way through. It shouldn't be like super juicy all the way through, you know? Do they not use the temperature probes to check the temperatures of the patties when they flip them and pull them? Do you know?
Depends.
Because like that's the only thing I ever send food back for is if the burger's like rare and I ordered it medium well because I'm trying to get a medium out of it, you know?
It depends. You are supposed to, right?
Yeah.
When you have someone who's new to it or not experienced at it or whatever, or they think that they can just tell by looking at
the outside of it. Yeah.
Honestly, like you should be able to tell what a burger is cooked just by feeling it. And if you're experienced enough at cooking,
Yeah.
you can take a piece of chicken, a piece of steak, a piece of pork, and a hamburger, and they all feel different when they're cooked. And you should be able to like poke it with your finger and be like, "Oh, that chicken's still
firmness.
raw in the middle.
Yeah,
Oh, that burger's still raw in the middle."
Or
Oh,
judging
that
it by the
burger's
color of the
overcooked.
juice coming out of it, you know? Yeah.
Right, and just I mean, like that's how Chef Ramsay does it. He doesn't stick a meat thermometer in it. He just feels the fucking steak and says, "Ooh, it's medium rare, perfect. Oh, it's
Yeah.
medium well, how they ordered, whatever it is, you know."
Yeah. Yeah. And you're right though, with enough practice, it should just kind of fall right in line, you know?
It's really not hard, but the other problem, and I don't know if you have this in your area, is the language barrier.
Not with the servers, no. I mean, the servers would have to communicate with the cooks, but yeah, a lot of your chefs are not primarily English speaking. I mean, you see that anytime you watch shows in the restaurant industry, it's what you see, you know. I mean, even Anthony Bourdain would talk about that, and you know, a lot of his chefs and stuff were some of his finest French chefs in his restaurant were from Mexico or Guatemala or El Salvador, you know.
I mean, that's just it is what it is because you don't make as much in the kitchen as you do the front of house generally.
Yeah, I mean that's just a lot of service industry jobs, and we're not trying to say anything bad. It's just if you open your eyes and look around, doesn't mean that people don't speak English, but I could see how language could be a barrier in certain environments, you know.
Well, it absolutely is. I mean, honestly, it is. It's something that makes the job. And this wasn't true. Okay, so like when I was like 16 years old, right? So we're going back 14 years ago, half my life almost. Actually, more than that. 24 years ago. Holy fuck, more than half my life. I can't do math. My first job as a waiter at that time, I got because my sister was a waitress and made a fuck ton of money at this place and was like, "Oh, you're 16 now. Come work with me and I'll get you a job and you can make a bunch of money doing this and blah blah blah." Every single cook at that place was American, 100%, born here, raised here, lived here, everything, spoke English only. That was 1998. Isn't it funny how between 1998 and 2022, how much that's changed?
Well, if you have an influx of a population, there's a couple of reasons. You're going to have a change in your population over time because you've got immigrants coming in from other countries. That's just diversity that's happening over 30 years of population. And then also, you know, in certain industries, you know, some people, depending on maybe their immigration status, they can only get certain jobs or only certain employers will hire them or whatnot. And
well, the question
and
is
then also,
who wants this level of immigration? Who voted for that? Who decided that?
Well, I would say any governing body that was looking the other way while people were coming across the border because they know it makes for cheap labor. I mean, that's been going on for 30, 40 years in the U.S., you know.
So you let a whole bunch of people into the country under the pretense that, hey, we'll look the other way because it gives us cheap labor. What does that do to someone who is just working in this country, who doesn't have like specialized expensive labor, that just has general labor? It makes the value of that labor go down significantly.
Oh, yeah.
So you're basically what you're doing when you and you're lying to the very people who you're hurting and saying how diversity is their strength and how it's so great for them and all this other stuff, while at the same time kicking people in the nuts by letting so many people in this country that you're driving the fucking labor market into a whole different level of fucking cheapness because they've got so many people who can work a job. The job is therefore anyone can do it, and so we can pay you whatever we want, so fuck off. Like, that's what ends up happening, is you are no longer the rare commodity. You are no longer the special thing in the spice that makes the business work, because they can just grab another fucking random person from the ground, throw them in the spot, and on they go.
Well, yeah, man, because that's going to maximize your profit margin on your business, your stockholders, your shareholders.
Right, but
That's
that
pretty
doesn't.
much cheap labor is going to maximize the profit your industry can generate. So why not do everything you can to promote it? Why pay people a good wage or, you know, double minimum wage or whatever for doing a job when somebody will do it for minimum wage and not complain about it?
Well,
You know?
I'm saying, like, why hasn't the level of income kept pace with inflation as time has gone on, especially going back to like the 50s, you know, like you go
Or are you
back
talking
to,
like average, like the average salary, even American? Or are you talking minimum wage or what?
I'm talking the average, like what a worker makes at a job, right? And that some jobs that's minimum wage, at other jobs it's more than that. But if you go back to like the 1950s, what we were talking about earlier, where dad would work and they'd have a house and a car and 5 kids and all the kids would be fed and all the kids would have shoes and haircuts and clothes and play basketball or whatever it was, and no one would really want, I mean, you wouldn't have extra all the time, but you could take a vacation and you had everything you needed. Now you need mom and dad working and you have 1 kid. You know, like it's just it hasn't kept pace. The reason is
the cost of living. I'm kind of curious, like proportionally speaking, is
Jesus Christ, man. The reason is because we keep letting people into the country at such a rate that you're driving down the value of the worker to a point where they're basically slave labor. Going back to another point that we were talking about earlier, yeah, like it's all kind of related, you know.
Well, I mean, the thing is, as an American or as a worker, you have to adapt and look for a higher salary job. You have to go to school and maybe become a lawyer, maybe become a doctor, an engineer. Maybe you have to get into an industry or maybe you got to be your own business person. Maybe you got to start your own industry. I mean, I look at you know, electricians and plumbers, you know, positions like that, mechanics. These guys are making $100 an hour. Maybe a person needs to just switch what they want to do and go into a different field if they want to have the income that they want to have. You just have to look into something else, you know. I mean, those positions pay really well. I mean, you could become a journeyman and go over time and get into HVAC or get into electrical or plumbing or welding or even construction. And, you know, I mean, anybody can work themselves up to that level if they really want to. I mean, you could start your own service once you get certified or join on with a company and learn how to do the job and then go solo. I mean, it's, you know, you can do well. I mean, people that do that do well for themselves. I have friends that do those things and they've got nice homes and they've got their 3 kids and, you know, their wives will have a job, but they've got their truck, they've got their, you know, their livelihood. You have to go beyond.
Travis. The point is that not everyone can do that. And I'm not saying that I can't do it or that you can't do it, but I'm saying there's a lot of people out there who have absolutely no desire, no drive, no intelligence, no ability, nothing to do any of what you just said at all.
Okay.
And so they're going to be stuck at whatever position they end up at, right? And then to those people, you're flooding the country with competition. You're flooding the country with thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions and millions and millions and millions, literally, of people who can take exactly their job, but they're willing to do it for less. And they're doing it for less. And those people are being outcompeted for jobs that pay less and less and less. Well, at the same time, you've got a government that says, hey, you're not making enough and we want to take care of you and we're going to give you money. So we're going to tax everybody and we're going to devalue the dollar and we're going to continue to do these things so that we can continue to bring people into this country so that we can benefit these companies that want fucking cheap labor that will continue to fuck people in the ass the entire fucking way. And you're saying, oh, it's cool. Just go get another job in a different vocation and you got to figure that, fine, that works for people who can do it. But there's a lot of people who can't do that shit. What's the answer?
You know, at this point, it's too late to change the environment. The environment is what it is, dude. I mean, you've got to adapt. I mean, that's the nature of our economy. That's awful. It's awful that it's that way.
Travis, but what is the answer for the people who can't adapt?
I don't know, because of the type of economy we have. Either they're going to fall back on welfare and let the government take care of them because they can't make it, or they've got to do something different. I mean, those are your options.
What if they can't do anything different? What if they can't adapt?
I don't know. I mean, this is then you've got your welfare systems that'll take care of you and keep you alive, I guess, if you can't make it. I mean, that's, you know?
So we're just going to continue this.
Hey, I don't
brain-dead
like
policy.
it. I'm not for it. And I think it's awful,
No,
but
I'm not saying you are.
no,
I'm
no,
saying that-
it needs a change, dude. Yeah, yeah.
Well, the
But
thing is,
okay,
there's,
so go
there's
ahead. Go
half
ahead.
the country who are arguing for this staunchly as if it's fucking racist for you to say anything about it, while they're at the same time probably the largest percentage of the population of those people who can't do anything to change their position.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's just because of what the working labor market has turned into. It's not beneficial to the average person just trying to get by. No, it's not. And then you look at the cost of living, and there are certain places you just can't live off of just minimum wage or just an average working wage. I mean, kind of curious. Okay, you were talking about the 50s and being able to thrive and get by and stuff. I mean, if you were making minimum wage in the 1950s, could you support a family of 2 or 3 and have mom stay home and have a car and a house? I don't know.
No.
I mean, would that even be possible?
Well, here's the thing, though, dude. In 1950, the only people who were making minimum wage were teenagers. If you were an adult and you had worked in whatever industry it was for any amount of time, you were making significantly more than that. And that's how those people, like if you worked at a factory, you weren't making minimum wage, even if you were just starting off. And if you were making minimum wage, it was because you were working at like a gas station as an attendant, or you know what I mean? Like one of those basic jobs that you really can't pay people much for because it's not a complicated job and it's not very stressful. And you know what I mean? Like,
well, okay. So, you know, you're in Colorado, I'm in Nebraska. In Nebraska, your manufacturing jobs that anybody could go do, a line worker job, does not pay minimum wage. They start 11, 12, 13 bucks an hour. I was making back in the 90s, I was making, I think, $9 or $10 an hour in the packing plant when minimum wage was $5. I mean, those industries now pay $15 an hour. Heck, I mean, even so like I don't really know of a lot of places that just start at minimum wage, especially here in Nebraska. You can go work in sales. You might get minimum wage, but then you get commissions off your sales. I mean, there's a lot of industries you can work in.
It depends on your cost of living too. Like, for instance, if I made $15 an hour, I would have to work 75 hours a week to pay my bills.
To keep living where you do live. And if you have to, you could move to a place that's not as expensive, but then you'd have to try to find a new job, you know?
Inside of Colorado, inside of the Denver metro area?
Yeah. No, you'd have to. No, I know. I understand, dude. I understand. Yeah. Because of the cost of living, because the cost of rent or the cost of houses is just insane, that you've got to have a 6-figure job if you just want to be able to even afford a house, you know, if you're lucky, or a flat or an apartment, you know. I don't know what's rent for just a 1-bedroom apartment in the Denver metro area? $1,300 a month.
The cheapest you will ever find is $1,100 a month. A typical 1-bedroom apartment in the Denver metro area is $1,500, and like
at $10 an hour, 40 hours a week, you're not going to make it. You know,
like a typical like nice 1-bedroom apartment is $2,000.
Yeah, and so see here in Lincoln, Nebraska, you can get a nice 1-bedroom.
If you want to live in an upscale area and like with a nicer apartment that's roomy, that has all the amenities and all that shit, you're paying $2,000 a month for a 1-bedroom apartment.
So, I mean, a person, maybe they just can't live where they want to live because the reality of their financial situation says it's not going to happen. They've got to go somewhere else. That's why we have a lot of people that migrate to Nebraska, because our cost of living is so low. The town that I was living in before I moved to Lincoln, when I lived in Lexington, you could get a 1-bedroom apartment for $400 a month. You could make $15 an hour working at the beef packing plant. And if you and your wife worked there, you would be just fine. You know, low cost of living, low cost for groceries, low cost for utilities. Yeah.
Almost all of my friends, almost every single one of them that I went to high school with, that I grew up with, that I, you know, back in the day, almost every single one of them doesn't live in Colorado anymore. And the ones that do had a good job before anything went down, and already had a house, so they already had their mortgage locked in at like the before times prices and all that stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
So they're able to continue to afford to live. Of the people who rented, who still live here, they all have to live in like, I don't know, like 5 people in a 3-bedroom apartment, you know, kind of deal, where everyone's paying like a little bit of money so that they can still afford it. You know, like the people who, it's really difficult to figure out, dude. And the housing
Well,
market,
the
they
option
fucked
is
up
to leave.
Colorado's housing market so fucking bad because we had so many people moving here month after month. There was 10,000 people per month moving to the Denver metro area for like 7 years straight, right? So 120,000 people per year for
Yeah.
7 years. We had almost 1 million people move here, and they barely built a new apartment complex. They built plenty of luxury housing. Like if you wanted like a 5-bedroom mansion, they built all of those that you know people could buy. Every single one that could be bought, they built and more. But as for like apartments or smaller houses or cheap, like lower income, like the kind of housing that they needed for the people who were moving here, they didn't build any. They barely built any. And so the competition for those apartments went up and up. And again, we're going back to that price hike thing. I lived in an apartment in Castle Rock right when they legalized pot, right? My 1-bedroom apartment was $600 a month. And then it was $800 a month. And then it was $900 a month. And then it was $1,100 a month, and I had to move out.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't afford it anymore.
Well, do you guys have the California problem where you've got people migrating from California to Denver, or people? Because I know my buddy lives down in Dallas. The Toyota moved their headquarters to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and that brought a couple thousand people to the market, to the housing market, and the housing industry just exploded. I mean, house values went up 25% in the last 4 years. So, I mean, is that the kind of situation you guys have people migrating in from like California? They're coming with their California money basically to buy the houses up, and they can compete. They don't even have to pay market price. They can pay over because they've got the money to do it. Or what does the net migration into Colorado consist of?
I mean, it's some of that. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But the overwhelming majority of people who moved to the Denver metro area were people who were like, I want to smoke weed and not be hassled by the police. I am willing to uproot my life, sell my car, dump my girlfriend, leave my parents, and go to a different state where I don't know anybody because I want to smoke weed.
Well, that was the decision they made, dude. and how they afford to keep living that lifestyle is beyond me. You know, especially if they're trying to find housing.
They
don't,
Travis. They live on the fucking streets.
And that's a choice they made, dude.
It looks like, well, okay, the choices that they made affect everybody else.
It does, but then that's when your government's got to step in and clean it up and do something about it.
Yeah.
I mean, if these people can't help themselves.
They're not going to.
I know. It's like I look at San Francisco, it's the same kind of situation, or California with their homeless villages that they've got, LA and stuff like that. I mean, I know people made those choices and it affects everybody else in that environment, but that's just the country we live in, unfortunately. And until those people make choices to not live that kind of a way, they're going to be there. And if you can't move them out, they're going to be there. You know, I mean, sometimes I just feel like there's things that are just kind of out of our control that you can't. I hate to say, but you got to move. You know, it's just that's the environment that you're in. If you don't want to be there, you got to leave. You know.
Well, okay, so that's always been not always, but that's been a continuing problem that I've had with why do shithole countries turn into shitholer countries, right? Why does California continue to get worse and worse and worse and worse? Why is that happening to Colorado right now and getting worse and worse?
Drugs.
And it's because when people start feeling like things are going against them and times are going to be tough and they're going to be maybe a little outnumbered or a little bit fucking like outshouted or whatever, they leave. And they say, oh, California's getting bad. I'm going to go to Texas. And then they go and ruin Texas too, right? California's getting bad. I'm going to go to Colorado. And they ruin Colorado too. And now Colorado is a shithole. And now Texas, like certain parts of Texas, are turning into shithole. And other fucking parts of the country are turning shithole, which is making more people be like, oh, things are getting bad. I'm going to go somewhere else. And then you leave the problem, and the problem gets... I mean, the same thing happened, like Nigeria, let's take as a for instance, right? Nigeria, I'm sorry, is a shithole. And it has nothing to do with race or anything like that. It's just... you can't argue that it's a fucking good place, right? There's like murder and death and disease and starvation and problems and corruption and fucking all kinds of stuff, right? And every time, not every time, often when someone from Nigeria who's smart and is like manages to get an education and do something with his life, what is the first thing he fucking does? Moves the fuck out of Nigeria.
I was gonna say, becomes a warlord and starts killing people.
No, you get the fuck out of that fucking place
Okay,
as soon as
okay.
you physically, possibly fucking can, and go to anywhere that will take you that's better. And where's been better this whole time? America, which is great. I mean, like, you look at like the people who've moved from Nigeria to America, like the first generation Nigerian immigrants to America, have generally done very well. Why? Because we've taken their very best and brightest people out of their country and given them an option to, rather than stay where they are and fix the problems and make things better and stand up to the bullshit and make things better, run away to a place where things are already better, and then you can just be there and things are fine. Where did you come from? Oh, it's even shittier now because I was the one doctor in Nigeria, and now I'm just another doctor in whatever city in America, you know? I mean, the same thing happens in states. The same thing happens in cities. And I think if you don't stand up against it, what do? I mean, you just succumb to it. You just go to a different. I'm just gonna meet you in Nebraska, I guess. We'll hang out. I don't know what the answer is, dude.
Come on over, bro. I'm telling you, low cost of living, lots of open land. You know, it's nice. It's nice. It's a whole different kind of environment. So, although I mean, Lincoln and Omaha are just as expensive, can be just as expensive as Denver. That's not uncommon to have, you know, $1,600 one bedroom apartments and houses that start in the 650s, and you know. But yeah, like my best friend and his wife and kids, they moved from the Dallas Fort Worth area to Lincoln here last week. That's what I was doing when I was helping them come up here, and you know that. Because of the population growth and the housing demand, they sold their house they bought a house 4 years ago. They sold it for $2,000 more than what they paid for it. And they bought a house here that was $100,000 less than what they sold. So, I mean, they gained $100,000 on their house sale. Buddy works from home with his job. He can do it. Wife's a teacher, you know, and they wanted to change the pace. They wanted to get out of this urban sprawl that's turned into the Dallas metro area. And they wanted to change in the weather. They just wanted a different, you know, a little bit different life. So they just up and left. And it wasn't because of the bad environment or anything. It was just because it was a good time, and the kids are at an age where it's good to move before they get into high school. So they decided just to come to Nebraska. My buddy's from Nebraska originally, and they love it up here. I mean, it's such a change. You know, it doesn't take 45 minutes to get to Aldi or Walmart. It doesn't take, you know, where you go doesn't depend on the traffic of the day if you're going to make it or not, you know. So sometimes you just got to change your environment up and leave. I mean, that's, you know, if you want something better for yourself, doesn't mean you shouldn't try to change how things are where you are. But if that change isn't going to happen right away, you got to look out for yourself, you know?
Well, I mean, the one thing that I can say is, for myself anyway, the thing that I've had to do is take care of the kids, right? And they are almost old enough to be off to college or off doing their own thing in the world. And I mean, I hope the world isn't so fucked up that they can't go anywhere and they can't do anything and there's no jobs for them and school's pointless, because that's what it looks like it's going to be. And I could be wrong, but I think that is going to be the reality that they face.
Depends on what they want to do, though. Like if they want to go to trade school.
Well, hold on, dude. Let me finish a fucking thought. Jesus Christ.
Go ahead.
Because the economy isn't going to be, dude. Look at where the world's going, Travis. Like, look at where the world's going right now. How is our country doing? How's the dollar doing? How's gas prices going? How's our fucking economy? How's the president? How's war? How is the outlook in the future look? Is it stable? Is it unstable? Is it going to be potentially crazy? Yes, absolutely. Is it absolutely going to reach the limit of that craziness? I don't think so. Maybe. Could. Depends. But
well, hey, maybe the kids got to get into an industry where there's going to be a labor demand, that they're guaranteed that they're going to have a paycheck because they're going to be doing something that a person has to have just to function in this world. That's why I was saying, you know, trade industries, things like that are huge. You're always going to need plumbers. You're always going to need electricians. You're always going to need welders. You're always going to need auto mechanics. And I mean, if they can't do those things, okay, then they got to look into something else. We're always going to need barbers and stylists. We're always going to need health industry workers. They got to go into an industry where there's always going to be a demand. Maybe try to get them something into computers or programming. You know, they've got to be competitive because that environment's changing.
I think the jobs in the future are going to be who can maintain the robots.
Yeah, that's okay. So they need to get into
and the robots kill people. So yeah,
no comment on that. I'm just saying that if they want to write better code so that the robots don't kill people, maybe they should get into.
So they kill them more efficiently.
No. I just, but you see what I'm trying to say? They need to be they're because their work environment is changing. They need to set themselves up so they're ready to handle what the labor market's going to offer them. Like what demand is out there. I mean, I'm just saying that service industry, basic things that people need to survive. There's always going to be needs to keep that infrastructure going. You know.
I mean, I guess at the height of the Great Depression, people were still fixing things. Yeah.
I mean, people are still going to need a wall socket installed. They're still going to need their cars fixed. They're still going to need I mean, there's things that people just don't want to bother with. Not everybody wants to install their own sink. Not everybody wants to bother, doesn't know how to do something if something backs up, and they're willing to pay $150 an hour to have somebody do it. I mean, you've got to be competitive and get into an industry where there's going to be constant demand. And I mean, unfortunately, entry level not you. I'm just saying, like, fast food jobs are always going to be there. There's always going to be some kind of, for now, until robots take over, that your kids are going to program. But there's always going to be demand for stuff. There's always going to be industry where they're going to be able to find a job. Might not be what they want initially, but they need to make sure that they can get out and be as competitive as they can in the labor market by going into high demand industries. And
I see a future in this country, Travis, where large percentages of the country are never employed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because robots are going to replace slowly look at the check stands at the stores. They're slowly
not because of robots. Because of robots. Because of a depression, an economic depression that will make the Great Depression look like a fucking day at the playground. That's what I think.
But there's always going to be elites. There's always going to be people with money. And they're always going to have needs and demands. And your kids need to be there to meet those demands, because that's how they're going to make bank. There's always going to be rich people. There's always going to be people with money, some way, shape, or form, that are going to need things done, and they're not going to do it themselves. And I mean, I look at it. You look at your basic service industry; those things have not disappeared since we've been living in houses through every single world war. There's always been. I'm just saying that there's options for your kids where they're going to be able to be guaranteed to bring home a nice paycheck every night because they're in a demand position.
We never got anywhere close to full employment after the shutdown, like post-COVID. Nowhere close to full employment.
Well, yeah,
in spite of what Biden would like to say, because he goes around saying again and again, and people repeat that it was the greatest economic recovery under any president in history, and blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, you have to look at what the start position was. And the start position for Biden was, hey, we as governments and local municipalities and whoever have shut down the economy almost completely, as much as we possibly could. And the moment Biden got into office, guess who got his job back? And guess who else started working? A lot of other people. They opened it as much as they possibly could and used all of those numbers as jobs that he created, because they went from a shut down economy to, like, not as shut down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt those numbers were ridiculous, because it was just opening the doors back up. You can't really say that's creating jobs, because before, those positions were filled before the shutdown. You're not really creating new jobs. Like you said, you're just reopening what was already there.
And the number of desperate people who were, like, at their wits' end of what to do, maybe about to lose a house, maybe about to lose a business, maybe about to lose everything right now. I don't know what number of people that is, but it's a staggering number of people who post-pandemic don't have a clear path towards something new towards that industry that no one can fire, towards that job that's going to pay them enough, towards that place that's got the cheaper rent, towards that fucking option that I don't know how you're going to figure it out, dude, for everybody, because there's going to be a whole fuck ton of people who are going to deal with a whole fuck ton of suffering and not have a fuck ton of answers to deal with it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, I agree with you on that, and it's not getting any better right now. I mean, that's the truth, and I think a lot of people just got used to being able to stay home and basically be lazy, you know, and have the government take care of them. And
like, do you think it's going to get better? Do you think like somehow it's magically going to turn around or something?
I don't know. Either those people are just going to be sink or swim. Either people are just going to lose everything and become homeless, like you said, or people are going to kind of, I don't know, pull up their bootstraps and go out and find a job that they can use to take care of their family. I don't know. It's going to be either or. You're going to get one or the other. People are either going to go out and do. I don't know. I really don't know. It depends on, like, do we have like a national rate of homelessness that's increasing? How about your foreclosures are going to be a huge one, I think, on the industry. And then also your increasing prices of rent are going to be huge. That's going to have a lot to do with what happens to people.
Well, and then you also have to consider the Federal Reserve Bank increasing their the percentages, which makes everything more expensive. Everything. Literally everything. And then you consider that at the same time that our debt is at an all-time fucking super high. Like, we've never had anywhere close to the amount of debt that we have currently as both individuals in this nation, as a percentage like of debt that an individual person carries on average, and as a country, as our national debt. So both of those things are going on at the same time.
Yeah. And I've been hearing that, like, when people lose their vehicles, that's been increasing heavily too. Like repos mass amount, and that's not a good sign of people can't even afford to keep their vehicle, something they need to function on a daily basis, you know?
So I was looking at, and I couldn't find it because every time I would try to scroll down and far enough on Twitter, I would end up pressing a button by accident that would bring me back to the top. But Colorado specifically, and I didn't know this until earlier, well, I guess it was yesterday now, has the highest per capita auto theft rate of any country in the world, or of any state in the nation. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm getting tired.
Which it blows my mind in the era of OnStar, and my Hyundai's got Blue Link on it, that people can still steal cars just because of the tracking that's on new vehicles, especially. The fact that you can see exactly where it is on a map at any given time. I mean, older cars, yeah, anything like, you know, maybe 90s and before may not have those systems on them. I think it's the car theft thing. As we go electric, I really do think that's just going to become irrelevant over time. I mean, unless somebody can get it to a chop shop in 20 seconds, you know. Don't you walk away from me. I'm making a good point here, Honda.
I need a drink, and
I'm messing with you, bro. Bro, I'm just kidding. He's hangry. He needs a Snickers. But no, what do you guys think? You guys think that maybe car theft is going to go down as we go electric just because of in the cloud that car is at every given moment and the requirements to make that car run? You know, I mean, you got to have your little safety key on your person. You've got your app. Now,
I think part of it isn't necessarily technological as it is like a personnel problem, right? Like, you've got so many people causing so many problems in a geological area and only so many people to respond to those problems, right?
Yeah.
So another stolen car, it's like, well, is anyone shot? Okay, we'll get to it when we get to it, sir. That's the attitude that you get.
Oh, yeah. And you're hearing about police not responding to certain calls unless it's an emergency because they don't have the gas budget. That's scary.
I haven't heard about that. Where was that at?
Look it up. Police not responding to calls. I want to say, was it like maybe Atlanta or maybe it's not in Nebraska, but cops not responding to calls.
States. Actually, going back what you were saying, Travis, about police not responding to calls in general, during 2020 lockdowns here in Ohio, I forget which city it was. It was either Dayton or Cincinnati had a big issue, and It was one of like the local police chiefs that came out and were like, "Hey, we're not going to respond to calls unless it's a murder." Gun sales skyrocketed immediately.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
It's apparently Michigan deputies answering non-urgent calls by phone because it cannot cope with soaring price of gas. There you go.
There's stuff that goes back to 2021 though, dude. Baltimore, Austin, Phoenix. I mean, it's not just a recent thing either.
Raw Feeding 101 dropped in $5 and said, my small 2-person business brought in 33%-ish of what it normally does in June. I plan on adapting and making it work. Spent 6 years on this. # not stopping. Dude, and that's the thing. Like, my job, for instance, is a major destination venue that a lot of people go to in the Denver metro area. We get a lot of people from out of town traveling through. We get locals, we get regulars, we get all kinds of fucking people, right? And we've had some business because of situational things. I mean, we just had the Avalanche win the fucking Stanley Cup, so we've had extra business because of all the Stanley Cup games and Avalanche games and people going out. But overall, the amount of people that are going out right now, the people who have disposable income to be able to go out to a venue and get drinks and watch a game and do whatever, is down significantly.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, you've already kind of answered your own question. What do you do if things turn down? Well, you're working at a place that has demand and has a constant source of income because of its appeal, not just to the local market, but the passersby, the tourists, the venue. Working at a place like that, things could get bad enough to the point that they can't keep the doors open. I understand that, but you're also working in a place that competes for that dollar. And by staying in that location, you're ensuring yourself financial stability, you know?
That place is on a knife's edge, Travis.
I know. And so the restaurant industry in general is, any restaurant is, because the profit margin is so slim. But if it went
out of business next month, I'd be like, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you got to stay in a place or an industry that's going to have constant demand if you want to keep the paychecks coming in. And
where is
you got to look out there?
I mean, I guess fixing fucking people's heaters. Like,
what, for $150 an hour? Sure, why not? You know, fix a car, $175 an hour. A plumber's $125 an hour. Those things always break. They're always going to need repair. And as long as people are living in houses, there's always going to be somebody that doesn't want to do it themselves. You know?
Yeah. It's true.
I mean, I paid for that stuff when I sold my house because I couldn't be there to do the work before the house closed. I had to pay to have somebody come in and take care of stuff that I couldn't get back to do. Yeah, I didn't want to, but it had to be done. I mean, I look at my HVAC system I put in my house before I sold it, a couple of years before I sold it, that was $6,000. I mean, but that was something that had to be done because, well, I wanted AC and a heater. I mean, there's always going to be demand in certain areas, just as long as there's human beings living in places. Unless we're all like in like little sleeping pods or something and like Matrix style until we get to that point.
What happens when $150 an hour is like $15 an hour?
I don't know. I mean, anything anymore costs, $100, it seems like,
Right. It's almost like we're heading there. We're getting closer and closer to that. But then you look at the people who are making $15 an hour and it's like, dude, it's like you're making $1. It's like you're making $1.50 an hour is what it's.
And they're
like.
living 5 people in a 1-bedroom house, and that's horrible, and it shouldn't be that way. And I agree with you. Like what you say, your friends have to do just to thrive where they live. They've got to do that. Hey, like my dad. This is funny. My dad's got me looking on eBay. He's got a 2017 Buick Envision. It's like a little crossover SUV. His temperature gauge isn't working. So he needs a temperature sensor that just literally plugs in somewhere. He went to the dealer. They wanted $325 for just a little sensor. I mean, that's for some people, that's an entire week's wages, for a little sensor just to tell you what your temperature is on your car. Yeah. And that car is only 5 years old, 4 years old, 40,000 miles on it. $325.
That's the thing about new cars, man, is fixing them is goddamn.
Oh, dude, it's insane. Like the headlights on them and the computer systems. Yeah. Yeah.
Like my RAV4, dude. Like when I first got it, I was taking the kids to school, and the road was icy, and I had to kind of make like a U-turn, and I was going just a little bit too fast. It wasn't like too fast. It was just going like a little bit too fast when I started the U-turn, and my car slid, and I tried to turn more, and it just slid straight into the curb at like 5 miles an hour, right? And
Yeah, a
since
little
my,
bump.
since my wheel was turned all the way when I hit it, it ruined the entire fucking knuckle joint on the fucking car, right? And that cost, I think it was like almost $3,000 to fix the knuckle.
$1,500 for the part and like, $1,500 for labor.
It was ridiculous, dude. And I had to fix it. It was like, I've got this fucking like $30,000 car. Like, I'm not gonna not spend $3,000 to fix it. But fuck, dude, like.
Oh, I know. That's nothing compared to like other cars. You look at like what just major engine parts cost. There are some cars I would never buy just because of the repair bills on them are going to just be insane. And then the other problem you run into is on older vehicles, like the parts just aren't there anymore.
Yeah.
If you need parts, like especially if it's a limited run vehicle that just wasn't around, it was only around for a couple of years, you might not be able to get that part, especially if it's not shared with other cars in that same category, like a Chevy versus Olds or a Pontiac or whatever, Yeah, they simply can't find the part,
That's why 90s Honda Civics, man. That's the way to go. If you want a car that's going to last forever, that's going to be cheap to fix, that you're always going to be able to find parts for.
Yeah, especially if they had a production run where they shared parts across multiple years, that's probably the best vehicle to buy into because that's going to guarantee you can get the parts,
Plus, even if the motor goes out, there's different motors that you can swap into.
Yeah. And there's rebuilds out there that are readily available or, whatever. So,
yeah. What the fuck? You're still awake? Shit. Yeah. 12 hours is coming up, man. We've been going for 11 hours and 30 minutes.
What time did you start? 9 or 8:30 or what? 10?
8 my time.
So 9 o'clock my time? Yeah, because I saw you guys were 40 minutes in and Yankee was on when I was listening to you last night, but then I hit the hay. So, yeah.
Yeah,
I've had to keep an eye on the dog just because I got to make sure he doesn't start itching his wound, his staples, because I got to keep that area clean and dry. So we're 3 days in right now. So I just want to make sure that he's not having any complications because if he starts scratching at it and stuff comes loose, I'm going to have an issue, especially going into the weekend.
Yeah, poor Pooch.
So I gotta keep an eye on him, but yeah.
And that's all right, man. I'm sorry that your dog's going through that. How much did that cost you again?
$1,925 for about a 1 hour procedure. And I mean, I have no doggy insurance on him. I kind of wish I did, but that's the only thing I've had to do to him in the last 4 years, other than just regular maintenance and shots. But I thought it was going to be more because you hear horror stories about people that have to do like a GoFundMe for their dog because they need like $6,000 for surgery and stuff. It's like, good God, man. And this one, it wasn't one of those things that was terminal because of the fact that it could be done. That's the reason why I decided to get it done. It wasn't like it was cancer, and if I take it out, it could come back, and it wasn't a tumor. It wasn't because there's times where you just got to let an animal go. I mean, if you think you can, if all you're going to do is prolong the inevitable, then you got to make a decision what you want to do. This was something that could be done, and it was affordable enough that I decided just to go ahead and do it. But that was for everything. That's including follow-up meds, all the x-rays. They used a laser scalpel instead of a knife. I mean, there's a lot of things that I had done to him that. It's all that includes everything except for his follow-up in 2 weeks and his staple removal. So,
dude, growing up, we were poor as shit, right? And we had dogs growing up.
Yeah.
And if the dog got sick, what we would do is give them lots of food and lots of water and shade in the backyard and love. And that would fix them, or it wouldn't.
Yeah, no, this would kill him if he would get.
There was no pain.
Yeah.
If it was something simple like, oh yeah, it's like just take him to the vet and get some like fucking
antibiotic or something.
Like that's fine. Yeah. But like, oh, he's got a tumor. Well, hopefully it gets better.
Yeah, I know. But since I'm in a position where I was able to get him fixed, I wanted to, But I hear you, dude. I mean, that's I remember one of our cats had cancer when I was still married, and my wife and I were at church, and it's a bunch of farmers that go to this church that we went to, and my wife was telling her story to the wives, and one of the wives went over and told her husband, and the husband came over. He's like, well, if you want us to, we can take him out to the pasture and just go ahead and end it quick, and we'll bury him. And my wife's like, no, he could still live, So $3,000 later, and 2 months later, the cat still dies, So like everybody kind of has their own perspective on animals and pets and what you can do for them,
It's kind of a
So-
lesson in the end of life because like people do the same thing too, right? Like
Oh yeah,
you work your whole life and you amass like, let's say $1 million, right? And you're like, okay, I've got $1 million, I can retire. And then you get sick and that costs 15,000 and this costs 40,000 and this costs 60,000 and that costs 80,000. And then pretty soon you're like, well, I've got $500,000. And then they're like, well, you're sick again. And you're like, oh, motherfucker. And then you pretty much at the end, you're like mortgaging, like reverse mortgaging the house that you live in so that you can continue to eat while you're getting your chemotherapy. Cause it's like, God damn, dude, like maybe you should have just let the cancer take hold and given the kids the money. I don't know.
Don't forget about the final monster that's going to eat you up, the nursing home at $20,000 a month or $10,000 a month or whatever they charge you to sit in your room and have a nurse check up on you once a day.
I think my aunt lives in an assisted living house, like apartment, that is fairly affordable, and it's $4,600 a month.
Yeah, if you need anything intensive, like my grandparents have nursing home supplements. My grandpa had a cancer supplement. He got lymphoma about 10 years ago, and his total medical bills were close to $1 million when it was all said and done. After chemo, after all the meds, the $15,000 shot, white blood cell steroid shots he had to get, and he's alive. But yeah, he showed me all of his bills, and it added up to almost $900,000 when it was all said and done. Luckily, his supplement paid it. Otherwise, my grandparents would have lost everything. Yeah,
I mean, at a point, if your insurance runs out or whatever, it's like, what do you do?
Yeah.
And there's people out there who, like they have pills that they have to take that keep them alive that costs like $1,000 a pill, and they got to take one every single day. Like, Jesus.
Oh, I know. Yeah, the whole meds thing. Don't even get me started on that, dude.
Like $360,000 a year just so that you can keep breathing, and that's not even counting fucking food, water, housing, anything. It's just for your pill.
Real quick, not to change topic, but old man butt wrinkles. Yeah, I see that. I got to call my old man and see specifically if it's something for the gauge cluster or if it's the sensor off the block or what it is. I mean, I'm pretty adept with cars, so I don't know specifically what it is, but he was told, yeah. Of course, that $325 might have included the $150 to install it, where they bill you the 1 hour labor for a 5-minute job, because it takes up a bay. But
I mean, depending on where a temperature sensor's at, they usually make them like accessible.
They plug in. Yeah, they plug right into like some passage with your coolant, and then there's one cable that's going to plug into it that reads to the computer.
Right. So it's not going to be like.
Yeah, I don't know what I got to ask him exactly what the heck it was, because he said his temperature gauge wasn't working, so he needed a temperature sensor. I'm like, $325? That's insane, dude. I don't know. Hey, you're talking about cars, complaining about cars. The other problem that we have right now too is high demand and low volume, which means prices are high. But have you been seeing some of the dealer markups on vehicles that they've been putting out there lately? What they tack on the price of the car just to get you the car, like they call it like a convenience fee or a market adjustment. I mean, dude,
I heard they were starting to catch up on that, but I don't know. I guess they're keeping up on it.
Even little $1,500 or $3,000 add-ons, and I'm seeing like some of those Ford Mavericks, we were talking about earlier, the hybrid pickups. They're $20,000 truck, $21,000 pickup, but then the dealers are slapping on $5,000 or $10,000 on them. And the sad part is people are paying it because they want so.
Do you have any black powder guns?
Yeah. Actually, we were going to talk about that for Caliber Corner yesterday, but I put it off because of the dog. So we're going to talk about it next Saturday. I have a revolver, and I did a whole episode on black powder, 2 episodes, I think, on black powder rifles and revolvers a couple years ago. They're fun. Yeah.
I got to get this stuff to load this up. I don't know much about this thing. It's 44 caliber black powder revolver. So I need 44 caliber balls. I don't know how much black powder you use. I don't know what kind of caps go on them. Like, I don't know.
Squib load. Squibby could give you all the information you need, but you could look the gun up online and the manual will tell you how much. Like, I've got a Pieta Cold Navy 44, which takes 454 lead balls. And mine uses 30 grains of triple F G or H powder. I can't remember what it was that I bought. I think I bought some powder called 777, which is triple F G or H. And it's really not hard to do. And then I use either number 10 or number 11 percussion caps.
Do we have the same revolver?
Is it a Pieta? Did yours come in the ready pack, or do you have a Pieta revolver?
Well, look, it's a Pieta.
Yeah, we might have the exact same gun. Yeah, I use a
44 caliber.
Yeah, did yours come with everything? Did you buy it as a ready pack, or did you just buy the gun?
No, I got the gun for like $120 from a gun shop that was closing because it was on the counter and they had it as like a floor model.
Yeah. So the powder that you need, I think it's like Hodgson's 777 powder is what I buy, and it's like triple F, G or H rated. And if you watch I did a whole video on shooting black powder for the first time. If you watch that Thunder on the Prairie video, you can watch exactly what I used and what I did. And then the only thing that I bought was a different powder measure than what came with my kit. I bought a nice little 30 grains of powder. And that was the only thing. And then also Squibb gave me some special boar butter that you use to seal off the cylinders once you pack it to keep it dry so stuff doesn't fall out while you're shooting the gun. There's there's stuff you can buy called boar butter, but if it gets over a certain temperature, it just you rub it on the front of the cylinders to seal the cylinders off once you pack them. Something you never see in Old West movies.
Didn't Iraq veteran 8888 use Crisco?
You can use Crisco if you want, which is fine, unless it melts if the temperature gets too warm. Boar butter's out there. The stuff that we use is called. It's God, I can't remember the name of the company. He gave me a little tube or a little tub of some stuff that's made out of beeswax and goat tallow, and it's high temperature resistant because I'm sometimes shooting in 90+ degree temperatures. It's like Guns of the West. They make their own formula, and it's maybe $10 for a little tub of this stuff. But yeah, you could do Crisco if you want to. It burns right off when you shoot it. It's super easy to. I mean, it takes a while to load the gun. You're probably looking at about first time you do it, probably 10 minutes, I suppose, just to load all the cylinders if you've never done it before. But yeah, go watch Iraq Veterans video or go watch my video where Squibb and I are at the range. We're loading. I shoot 3 different guns in the video. And we talk about the whole process of packing it, using the ramrod to stuff the round in and the wad and everything. So yeah. The one thing is, though, too, when you get done, you really need to give the gun basically needs to be completely disassembled and cleaned because otherwise the powder is going to start corroding everything.
Raw Feeding 101 dropped in $2 and said, when we could focus chats on stuff like guns.
Dude, that's all we ever talk about on my show.
There is no focus here. Trust me, it's fine.
No.
Black Bear Forge says 3F from Black Powder for Black Powder pistol.
Yeah, I buy some stuff called 777, and it's like FFFG on the bottle. I'm not at my place right now, so I can't go look it up. But that's what we use. Yeah, beeswax and lamb tallow. Yeah.
All right. You got too much energy for me right now. I keep trying to say things, and you're already done saying it.
I'm highly I'm sorry. Dude, I'm totally a morning person. I have to be with my industry. So yeah.
Oh, I'm not. This is the time of day where I am asleep almost every single day. It's at 8 o'clock in the morning. If I'm awake, something's wrong.
You needed an energy drink sponsor for this. You should have reached out to Monster or Bang or NOS or something and got your Red Bull, pushing the 24 hours of Honda marathon,
Yeah, because they know who I am. Because I have that kind of pull.
You should do that. Say, hey guys, got to hook up with some new startup energy drink company and become their little spokesperson,
I wish, man. It'd be nice to get, a little bit of money for doing it for some weird way like that. That'd be cool. How do you get that? You reach out to everybody. You're like, hey, everybody, my name's eHonda420. And on YouTube, I talk about current events and weird things and conspiracies and aliens. And if you want to be on my show or if you want to sell your product, just contact me at ehonda@gmail.com.
It looks like, like Keeps or Manscaping or whatever. They sponsor anybody. So,
If you want as much hair as me.
Look at that. Look at that. See? Yeah.
It's hat hair right now. Yeah. Look at this. Just go to keeps.com and use promo code eHonda420 to get 10% off. Yeah, I don't know if I want to do that. Although that's what all the dudes who make a fuck ton of money on YouTube do. They'll make they'll make their like 30-minute video, but in the 30-minute video, every 5 minutes there's like a little 1-minute spot where they're selling something, you know.
Contact Black Rifle or Blackout Coffee Company. They reached out to me when like 2,000 or 3,000 subscribers and asked me if I wanted to show off their coffee on their channel. And anytime I want something, I just call them up and I can get a bag sent to me.
Yeah, but here's the difference between your channel and my channel, Travis. I don't know if you've ever noticed this. Is that I like to talk about, we'll call them spicy subjects, and we often use harsh language that's not very child friendly. And yeah, people with money don't like that kind of thing.
You might have to reach out to some unique providers and see what you can get, man.
Versus your show.
Hi guys, welcome to the G-rated Travis Morning Show. Yeah,
exactly.
I know, man. Agrizer P11, not P1111. I don't know who Travis P1111 is.
Hey, you doing okay? You need anything? You sleep enough? Are you mad at me? Was that a yes? What does that mean?
We got stuff back there, Honda.
Just say mad at me or not mad. Are you mad? Did they keep you awake? I'm sorry. I told you I was doing the 24-hour stream tonight.
You mean this morning? Here, I'll drop a shameless plug for Caliber Corner in on the YouTube side so people can check it out later if they want.
Patrick Pew Pew says, what kind of spicy subject are we talking about tonight if you can stay awake? Dude, I don't know, but it's going to get spicier and spicier as we go along here because I'm at the point
talk about
where
spices.
I'm at the point now where sleep is starting to be called for by my body and by my brain. And my brain no worky so goody when no sleepy. .9/11 Inside Job Coffee Company.
There you go. Conspiracy Coffee. You should start your own coffee company. Conspiracy Coffee. For the discriminating palates or whatever you want to call it. For the you could have hey, let's think about what would be some cool like names for coffee you could come up with that would fit your channel content. You could have like
anal cleanse coffee,
conspiracy dark roast, or
dude,
what are you guys
listening.
talking about?
You're not listening. Anal cleanse coffee. That's what.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
You know, some people get that naturally though. They don't need a specific blend for it. It just does it.
No, that's me. But I'm going to make a specific blend that makes you poop extra.
Colon Buster Dark Roast.
It's got like prune juice infused into it or something.
See, there's nothing out there that does that. You know, look at that guy that does the 30 seconds how's your poop look videos on YouTube. You know, you could be that next guy. You could be the coffee
it's that kind of coffee where the lemurs walk around and eat the coffee beans and then you collect their poop and then you grind it.
Cats, man. Come on.
Yeah, that's what it is. Sorry.
Lemurs. That's the next thing. Lemur pooped coffee. Yeah. Meerkat blend. Or just coffee that's just made by animal feces in general. I mean, there's probably a whole market for that out there. You know, if you want like Angus Bull dark roast, or
are there other animals that eat coffee beans and poop them out for human benefit?
I don't think so. I think it's just the civet cat because they kind of live in the area where the beans grow. Or
that's
the
too bad.
grow.
We need to find something else that has a similar digestive tract to a civet cat.
I know, like Shih Tzu,
them a bunch of green beans to see what happens
or something. Yeah.
I mean, you're either gonna like kill the monkey or whatever with caffeine, or you're gonna get some great coffee. I mean, maybe both. I mean, preferably both, really.
Yep, there you go.
JL says there's going to be 3 hours of Honda napping soon.
No, that's not going to happen. We're not going to let that happen.
I'm awake enough, man. I'm still going. We're 12 hours in. We're doing a 24-hour chat, boys. I told you I was going to fucking do it, and I haven't pushed out, did I? Said I was going to do it, and here I am, delivering to you internet people Exactly what I said I was going to do. How do you like that?
Man, nobody else does this. Nobody does the 24-hour live stream like this. Only here.
Patrick Pew Pew says, "Should I be worried I have ammo on the way and they shipped it UPS?" There was a story that at some point last night I was looking at, and I didn't read, that said something about UPS stopping all gun orders or something like that. I forget what it was. Is that what you're
I
talking
thought it
about?
said
Pew
like
Pew?
packages being destroyed from Pro 2A organizations or something, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Let me know if that's what you're talking about, Patrick, because I think that's what you're talking about, but I didn't read the article, so that would be a problem.
So apparently what happened with a lot of that was you had New York State, I believe is what it was, sued a bunch of P80 companies, and then it led to this whole situation now.
Kolf 2A wannabe Hunan Muhammad in the motherfucking house. How are you doing, good sir? Hey, I don't always see you. I've seen you several times while watching Rakita Law late at night, drop in super chats, and then hear Rakita say, and $20 from Kolf 2A wannabe Hunan Muhammad, and then you always say something fucking hilarious. It's great. Congratulations, sir. I give you kudos for your ingenious super chats. But he also says rat poop coffee. Could we feed? Okay, we need to find a breed of rat that digests the coffee bean just right, just a perfect to make rat poop coffee that tastes so delicious that fucking, like, I don't know, rich people pay me lots of money for my rat poop coffee.
Call it the Plague Dark Roast. Oh, man. Eduardo Espinoza. I'm Coco for Caca Puff. Ew. You haven't slept at all, have you, Honda? Have you taken a nap at all? Somebody was saying that they thought you took a nap for a few hours. No?
I mean, I had to work on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Super tired on Friday when I got home. Slept as much as I could, but I slept like shit, right?
Yeah.
And I woke up and I ran some errands and I did some stuff and I tried to sleep and I couldn't. And then I took like a little nap for like an hour right before the chat started. So really what I should have done is just started the chat as soon as I fucking woke up, because then we'd be about done right now. But then I wouldn't have got that hour-long nap.
Yeah.
So I'd be even tireder than I am now. But at least we'd be, a couple hours from done rather than 12. But it's fine.
You'll get there. Hey, Shadow Bear posted an update on the UPS thing if you want to look at that.
UPS is closing accounts for companies that sell 80% frames like Brownells, saying they have been selling to restricted states even when they haven't. Well, I mean, I guess going back to who was it that said that earlier? God damn it, I'm getting tired. Old man butt wipe. Butt wrinkles, I mean. I guess it depends on where you ordered it from. I mean, isn't mail delivery considered to be a public utility? And aren't public utilities protected under equal access under the law? As in, you cannot discriminate against anybody for any reason?
But UPS is a private company, though. They can maybe set their own requirements with who they do business with, possibly. I mean, just like PayPal not accepting. I know PayPal's not a public utility. That's not the point. But they don't take payments for certain things. They won't let you buy guns or whatever, pay with PayPal or certain parts and whatnot.
Okay, well, the difference would be like Comcast or Intermountain Rural Electric Company, right?
Yeah.
Couldn't turn off your power because of your political views. I mean, like the phone
Yeah.
company can't cancel your cell phone plan because you like something on Facebook that they don't like. Like that's what that means. So I guess if they could prove that they were breaking the law, then they would have no problem. If they weren't able to prove that a company specifically broke the law and used UPS as a carrier to break the law with, then I would think that they could be sued for a lot of money from those companies.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to like interrupt commerce and do all that. You know what I mean? Like, fuck you.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I would think there would be some argument to be made for shall not be infringed. If you're stopping interstate commerce on the basis of you think that a law is being broken even when it's not, and it has something to do with the purchase of a firearm, wouldn't that be considered on some level, if you're looking at the true definition of infringement, as an infringement on someone's Second Amendment right to buy or purchase anything that they want to protect their life, liberty, or property?
You would think so.
Although in the court system today, I think that would be a harder argument to make. You know what I mean? As in, you can make the argument, but who's going to fucking listen? They're going to try and use commerce laws. Well, the commerce clause, interstate commerce, that's regulated by, like it was never meant to be how that is. And like the courts have extended that to encompass all kinds of things that it probably never fucking originally meant to be encompassed under the interstate commerce clause or whatever the fuck it is. Yeah, dude. Like the government's found little ways to get their tentacles into everything. Okay, so like Snowden, right? What did Snowden expose? Snowden exposed to the American people that the federal government is spying on approximately 96% of everybody. And the way that they're doing that, the way that they're justifying it, is a 3 degrees of separation rule. Meaning, if there is someone that they have identified as potentially, not even necessarily, but potentially involved with terrorism, then they can track that person. But not only can they track that person, they can track everyone they talk to. And not only can they track everyone that they talk to, they can track everyone that those people talk to. And when you do that 3 degrees of separation thing, it ends up being approximately 95, 96% of the entire population of everyone inside of the United States, period. Every communication, every phone call, every contact, all your Google information, your geolocation, all of that stuff is sent to a government server, stored, and fucking, able to be accessed later if you're somehow flagged and pulled up and they have everything on you, right? That fucking program, Snowden, exposed. What happened as a result of that exposure? The answer? Absolutely nothing. That program is still going on. Its powers have been expanded. The companies are still in business. They're still doing exactly what they were doing before. They're still having exactly the same problems that they were having that Snowden got upset about in the first place that made him do the whole thing that he did. Snowden himself has to live in Russia in exile. I think Trump should have fucking pardoned him. Trump really should have pardoned Snowden.
I'm wondering if he didn't, because they might have done some surveys and maybe 50% thought he was a traitor and 50% said he was a hero. And Trump didn't want to risk losing his base of followers by pardoning him. I mean, they could have pointed out Snowden as a victim of government overreach, and they could have played it like that. And to the American public that would have accepted it better. But I just don't think that they wanted to hit Trump's popularity. So that's why he didn't get pardoned. And I'm not saying that's right. I personally think he's innocent because of what he exposed, which the government was technically doing illegally. Even if you say, well, he broke his laws and rights, but at what point do you have to do what's right for the common good of the country? And when you expose something like the government saving every single text message you've ever sent somebody for their own scrutiny, which would be illegal, then he's not doing anything wrong, But I seriously think that Trump didn't pardon him because it would hurt his popularity rating with his fan base.
Well, I think that was a miscalculation, honestly, because a lot of the people who were fans of Trump are the kinds of people who have a general mistrust of government.
Oh yeah, yeah, government overreach. Yeah, yeah.
And if someone was a whistleblower pointing out government overreach and Trump pardoned them, like, why would that be a bad thing? You know what I mean?
Because the liberal side would have spun it as him pardoning a traitor to the U.S. government and somebody that's going to cost American lives because he's been pardoned. And they would have painted him as, a traitor to the U.S. and what Trump did was wrong. And I mean, you could see it being spun by the left.
Yeah, sure, it could be spun,
Trump.
but my other point was going to be, though, that there's a lot of people on both sides of the aisle who look at the fucking this Snowden situation the same, right? Because they look at it as, hey, the government's doing a bunch of stuff that they said that they swore under oath that they weren't doing specifically, and it turns out that they were lying through their fucking teeth, and that's exactly what they were doing, and here's the proof of it. And the guy that gave us the proof is exiled to another country. Like, what the fuck are you guys doing? And then Trump's the guy who pardons him. I think he would have won votes doing that. I think that there's people who voted for Biden if he had pardoned him enough before the election to like signal that to people, would have changed their vote based upon that.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I just don't know if they just don't want to take that gamble. But I think you're right. I think it was a miscalculation. Did you watch the Snowden interview with Joe Rogan?
Yeah, I did.
Dude, I watched that whole damn thing, like all 3 hours of it, man. That was fascinating stuff, especially when he was talking about data collection for cell phones. And I mean, everything in the future is going to be about collecting your data so they can